Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pylon Show. This is episode number 82, and as always, I am Artosis, your host. With me today, I have three wonderful guests that have been on this show plenty of times in the past to discuss the IEM Katowice tournament, which is coming up. Let me go ahead and say hi to you guys. Zombie Grub, how's it going?
Really good. I've been prepping a lot for Katowice, so kicking ass.
Nice, nice. How about you, Pig? How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I'm actually eating a bunch of prawns with delicious chili garlic pasta right now for lunch. So yeah, toss another shrimp in the pig, I guess. I don't know, something weird's going on. I've been watching Katowice replays from the server qualifiers all morning, so I am very much just excited. We're finally starting the 2020 season of StarCraft coming up in the next week, so it's just I feel like I've had this like weird long off season. I'm just so excited to be watching more and more pro StarCraft and have the year kind of getting underway. Happy to be here, man. Thanks for inviting me on.
I know I'm jonesing as well, man. It's the longest off season we've ever had, and I'm just like I've been watching some replays, but it's not the same as having a real tournament. So looking forward to that. No regret. How you doing, my friend? Thank you for getting up so early in the day.
I was getting up early as of late, so it's no problem. Yeah, it's been good. I feel like the off season's been abnormally long, but I guess you just said it's the longest we've ever had, so that makes sense. But yeah, it's been nice. I've been watching a lot of the players prepping for IEM, and everyone's putting their all into it, so it's quite exciting, and I'm glad we get to talk about it on the show.
Yep. Well, we will be talking about it, but first, this week in StarCraft. But first, before that even, how you can support the show. Haha, Matt thought I was going to miss that one, and I was. Okay, if you like the Pylon Show and you want to support us, of course, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/ThePylonShow. This is the greatest way to support the show if you like the content. It is how we keep the show running. So thank you, everyone who has done so far. And of course, if you are supporting it, you can go ahead and ask us a Patreon question. You just support on Patreon and drop the question over at ThePylonShow.com, which has absolutely everything, all the links that you could ever want. It has a new forum that's up there. It has the show notes for every episode and everything. It has all of your Pylon Show needs, including a countdown timer to each episode. So check that out, ThePylonShow.com. And then, of course, we have Matcherino.com, which has been supporting us from the very beginning. You can go ahead and see if there's anything you'd like to purchase there, or you can just type in the codes. You click the contribute button. You make sure that you're logged in, probably with your Battle.net account, because I'm sure you support Nation Wars and get those skins and everything every time. But just type in Mint, and you make free money for us. Mint, M-I-N-T. I don't know if you guys felt this way, but as a child, I hated eating anything that had mint in it because it made me think I was eating toothpaste. Does anyone else have this?
Nah, I love myself some Thin Mints, man.
No, I hated it. I actually still do. I just don't eat mint because it's toothpaste flavored. I don't like to eat toothpaste flavored foods. Well, if you do, that's fine. Type in mint at Matcherino.com. All right, on to this week in StarCraft. Let's get right into it. Of course, anything that I bring up that you want to know more of, because I just kind of glaze over everything pretty quickly, you can check it out. There's links to the show notes everywhere that you can watch or listen to this. All right. So let's go ahead and jump down to page number 4 to start here. We have the ESL Open Cups. It just shows kind of an amount of players and dates and times of these cups coming up. Of course, continue to play in those. That's kind of funny that the Open Cups are still occurring during Katowice, right? 23rd and then 29th. I guess it's like kind of on the edges of it, but still, I guess whoever's there isn't going to play.
Right? Yeah, I don't think they're really anticipating not doing these every week.
So just keep it completely steady. I guess it's not going to really, the players that are doing well at Katowice probably don't need the 10 points anyways. Anyways, go ahead, sign up for these Open Cups. A good way to win some money, have some good competition, and support our new pro scene going forward. All right, IEM Katowice 2020 round of 76. Previous champions. We just kind of have a graphic here showing you some of the great players that have won Katowice in the past. And, of course, this is what the episode will be about, so we won't really talk about it here. And, yeah, have some more graphics on that. Skip over that because that's the bulk of the show. And all right, Titanus Del Ring Nation Wars. Looks like the final is going to be Canada versus Poland. This is a Brood War Nation War tournament. So I guess we're going to be seeing that on February 22nd, just a couple days. We also have Africa TV StarCraft League Season 9. The first two groups are done in both Bisu and Stork, the two best Protoss of all time, have made it out into that round of 16. A very epic tournament with some very wonky maps. Definitely check it out on Sundays and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. KST. This week in StarCraft, we have ESL Cup Korea. Zaun ended up taking down Time 3-1. The year of Zaun is upon us. This guy is all over the place right now.
Yeah.
Have you been seeing his play?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been casting a lot of Zaun, and I cast those finals. I'm going to bring this up because I don't think we have another opportunity. People in Ozcraft, when I was in Australia, were saying that the gateway 3 base 3 gas gateway style with no forges was like the Zaun thing, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's been a thing before Zaun. But they were definitely true in that he does it all the time. Time won like a Stargate map, and then Zaun was like, F that. It just went for the same style a few times in a row. I don't know. He seems like he just kind of has one thing for PvT, but he keeps winning. So,
well, it's good to have some new name actually pop up that we can get excited about in Korea. It's been a very long time, but he seems like a player that's a shoo-in to get into GSL for the first time. I believe it will be his first time, right? Like, I've known his name for a long time, so maybe he made it in one season years ago, because I know he's done his military service. So
we actually played Zaun when I first came out here with Sasha. We were playing Zaun a lot, and he was disgustingly good. But when I'm pretty sure he didn't get in, and he never had gotten in at the time. Like, he was like one of those top 16 B team SKT players, and we're like, this is just insane. Like that we have to play people like this, and they're not even close to the qualifying still. But there was a ton of players back then. That was before Kespa disbanded. So
yeah, there was quite a few more. But congrats to Zaun for taking down Time, and congrats to Time for making it through that. That's a very international bracket, by the way. Kind of interesting to see.
Lots of crossover in a lot of all of them. I mean, Drogo's been in Korea, or he was in Korea anyways, not anymore. But like NA had like EU versus Korea like plenty of times.
Yeah, that continues to happen. It's very, very strange to see that get divided up like that, but it's kind of cool that there's no strict rules on any of this for the Open Cups. Get a bit more people playing in them and everything. Anyways, that's cast by Zombie Grub, of course, and Creighton, Chicken Man, Maddox, and Renegade X Studios. Are those VODs up on your Twitch or your YouTube?
Absolutely, on my Twitch, and I've been uploading tons to YouTube. So,
excellent.
Definitely.
So check out Zombie Grub stuff if you want to see the VODs. All right, ESL Cup EU. Showtime takes out Lambo 3-0 in that finals. Looks like Mana and Neeb made it into the top 4. Very studded, star-stacked lineup from this one. This was by Wardy TV, as well as many other streams like O Gaming, Bel Air, Mint Crystal, etc. So you can check it out over there for the VODs. And then ESL Cup NA. Yeah, look at that once again. Korea versus Europe in the finals of the NA Cup. Scarlet did end up making top 4, though, so good on her. Cast by Maynard, Base Trade TV, Nathanius, Renegade Horus, and Rocklets TV. Check out the VODs over there. Wardy TV Team League Season 9. Fantastic 5 versus Team Liquid up in the winner bracket finals, while they still wait for MKers, Team LP, Chill Gaming, and Infinity Gaming down in the loser bracket. You can check this out, of course, over on Wardy's Twitch channel, as most VODs are. Wardy TV Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament 6. Cure took out Euthermal 4-1 in the finals. And there were 4 Terran players in the top 4? Does this mean they fixed the maps?
Yeah. It always happens.
It must be a good map pool.
Yeah. That always happens at map tournaments.
Yeah.
They find like one spot they can put their Liberator in, and it's like, oh, that's the game. GG, guys. And then like all the Terrans are whispering like, hey guys, just put your Liberators here. And then all the Zergs are out immediately. They just all get wiped out. Yeah.
And then the map gets fixed, and then the Zergs win all the tournaments that have money on the line.
This is the good thing. Like, the Terrans find the exploit immediately, and then by the time it gets to the ladder, it's already fixed. And then they all start losing again.
I love it. All right. If you want to check this out, of course, it's very good to support the map making scene and the map contest. Check out Wardy's channel. All right. The Kung Fu Cup 2019. I feel like this picture of Wardy is just going to be burned into my monitor in the same place on every page. Rogue defeated Deer 3-2 in that finals with TY and Impact both making it to the top 4. That is a just insanely stacked tournament. Oh my God. Looks amazing. Prize pool of $400. You can check it out over at Wardy's Twitch channel, as always. All right. Olimo League. This is number 182. Zest defeated Creator 3-1 in the finals. Look at that. Yeah, some other the up-and-coming players making as well. Dynamite going into the top 4 and Chance into the top 4 as well. Very good. 2-1 over True. Nice. All right, you can check this out. It looks like, I think Maynard cast it this week. And it's, I give it the little shout out every week. Check out their Patreon. This is such a great tournament. It really helps the Korean scene, I think. And it's the best replays, basically, that you can get on a regular basis. So check it out, patreon.com/olimoly.
Quick side note, a little bit surprising the Hero took out Estrella and then went 2-1 against Creator. Like, this is Liquid Hero, correct?
With those caps, it should be.
Like, that's a Liquid Hero has been a proper, not a meme, but like in terms of playing, like we haven't seen him at all in like a very long time. He's like 5,500, and I saw he had some minuscule result, not minuscule, like another surprising result in some other tournament. So I'm wondering what his form's like and how that's going, because it's been so long, like of him trying to come back, and streaming and stuff. So
I cast a couple of his games. He
What's
has
he
like the
look like?
syndrome that a lot of other people coming back have, where they're all playing slightly old school, and their mechanics just clearly would have fallen off. I feel like they come back with the same mechanics they had in 2012, which actually aren't very good anymore. So like there's a Hero versus Bomber match I cast, and it was just like, I don't know, it just was like weirdly subpar, and it just like felt really bad. And I was just like, these old guys like being old. But
so
PvP,
sad.
I think, is a real. I think PvP would make sense for a matchup for Hero.
I think it was. I remember actually. It was Hero versus Parting. I saw Hero took up Parting in something, and that was a PvP. So it could totally be PvP style, whatever.
Yeah.
Memes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's always been strong at micro and stuff. Maybe. Hero, though, actually, he was playing a lot of the Brood War qualifiers last year. So kind of interesting that he's jumping around, figuring out which StarCraft he wants to play. But reasonable results, I guess. I'm sure E-Mini will be happy that he's back. But congrats to Zest for defeating Creator in Olimo League. All right, the Alpha X Junior Championship Season 3. We have our top 4. Young Yakov, Wannabe Björn, Ghosty, and Baby Marine. These are great IDs for these guys. This is, of course, for players 15 years old and younger. And too young to compete on the circuit and never reached 6,000 MMR. That's kind of a weird one to put in there, I think. I really like this tournament series, though. It's very cool. Check it out. This is the future of StarCraft 2 pro gaming in Europe. We also have the Battle of the Americas. Cham, 3-1 over our boy Pure Legacy in battle number 4. This was cast by Cranky Ducklings. Check it out over on their channel. Torneo 2 vs 2 StarCraft. Looks like Team Bolivia Peru took out Los Ovjos. Los Ovjos.
Yep, that's what it is.
I'm pretty sure I nailed that one, right?
No,
That's
that was
Ovjos.
Yep.
OVE. That makes the O long because of the E. Ovjos. 3-1. It's brought to you by Jim Rising. 64 different teams took part, so you can check that out over on Jim Rising's channel, I guess. The Grand Platypus Open. Go Joey, 3-2 over Azure in the finals there. Demi looks like he got 3rd place this time. You can check this out, of course, over at Cranky_Ducklings on Twitch. The Aodai Weekly. Upley, 3-1 over Justice Simon. These two are all in the finals of every Vietnamese tournament every week. I just want to throw that down there. And it goes back and forth. They got a nice little rivalry going. Congrats to Upley for taking the throne back on the Aodai Weekly. And I'm not sure what channel it is. I think we have the link in here, so you can check it out if you want to watch. Passion Craft Sunday Showdown. Gerald takes down Skillis 3-1 in the finals. A couple more Protosses in that top 4. Congrats to Gerald. Yeah, they've got a Discord channel if you want to take part in the Passion Craft Sunday Showdown. 2020 NA Apprentice Season 1 Finals. We had Future take down Silky 4-2, with Asuna and Rays also making the top 4. Yeah, Sugar.
Semper's Protoss making the round of 8.
Huh?
Semper's Protoss making the round of 8. Right?
Really? Look at that.
I assume there's more behind it, so I mean that's pretty funny.
Probably.
He's a lawyer now, so he only has
Silky.
a certain amount of time, so he's picked the right idea, you know.
That's true. I was a Zerg player until I became a full-time caster, then I switched to Protoss.
Makes sense. Completely natural.
Less mechanics. All right. This was cast by Creighton, so you can check it out over on his channel. The Shirshadi Open. Starkiller defeated Cham 2-1 in the finals. Congrats to our pizza winner who took down the Shirshadi Open over Cham. That's a pretty reasonable victory. And check it out over on Shirshadi's Twitch channel. The Bald Guy EU Random Tournament. Organized by Creighton Olsen. That explains it. The best players in the EU fight for $50 prize. And every player has to play as random. So no big surprise to see Beastie Cutie in the finals, but did lose to Skillus 3-2. Looks like Scarlet made a top 4 as well. Congrats to Skillus. A couple good tournament placings this week. Legacy Weekly Japan. We had Psyark take down Rilakuma. This is another one that we see really often. It's Rilakuma in the finals and Psyark winning Japanese things. If you are in Japan and speak Japanese and whatnot, this is a great way to take part in your scene. Grumpy Games #1. Xanity takes down Chance 3-0 in that finals. It's a diamond and under StarCraft 1 vs. 1 tournament from Grumpy Gills. Over 45 participants and $108 prize pool. It was a great time, he says. All right, excellent. Pizza Pie Biweekly Season 3. Masa 3-0 over Future and wins his first pizza. So he joins the hunt for Starkiller. Congrats, Starkiller actually hitting top 4. Look at that. But Future took him out. Congrats to Masa on his pizza. In Depth. It's a really great show with really great hosts. Me and Jake.
I've heard they're really amazing.
They're something else.
I was actually coaching someone.
Replays.
I was coaching someone today, and they said they watched In Depth every day, and I said his brain is definitely getting bigger. I could just tell, you know. I could tell he watched In Depth.
Nice.
He was just thinking so smart.
Yeah, he was probably playing better and stuff.
He was.
Yeah. Well, check it out. It's over on my YouTube channel, and we do it on Monday evenings, KST. All right, interviews. Solar talks GSL Regional Lock and China's Pro League on TeamLuca.net. TL.net has a new interview with Solar, so you can go over, of course, to that website and check it out. Solar is always one of the more outspoken Korean pro gamers and one of the best ones out here, so definitely worth hearing what he has to say. All right, the ACSS Winterland 2020 Finals. Serial defeated Bundo 3-0. This was in Halifax. It was a BYOC tournament, so congrats to Serial for the victory. The Corporate Esports Association, finally, they are going to start off this season. Looks like a lot of really big companies have joined into this. I see an Amazon company, Google, several Microsoft ones, IBM, Facebook, all sorts of really cool stuff. So if you want to watch and take part, check out CEA.gg. Epic Land 29. That is this weekend. This is your last chance. If you are in the UK, join the Discord, join the tournament at epicland.co.uk. 2020 NA Apprentice Season 2. After an exciting first season of the year, we're back for Season 2. The qualifier begins on February 28th at 8 p.m. EST. Yeah, it's... There you go. Go and sign up if you want to play. ProBots 2020, Season 1. The group stages have begun. This is something that you can check out, of course, over on eschamp.com. They really kind of take care of the StarCraft 2 botting scene very well. So if you're interested in watching super strong StarCraft 2 computers play each other, check out eschamp.com. La Espira podcast. If you're listening to this and you don't understand what I'm saying because you only speak Spanish, or maybe you do understand what I'm saying, but you prefer to listen to Jim Rising and speak Spanish, check this out. It's a StarCraft podcast. It's also got Horus and Demon Swap on this episode. And they talk about IEM, Latin America content creators, and 10 years of StarCraft 2. Check it out at laespira.com/podcast. This week in Brood War, the G's Weekly. Looks like Parfume, the Korean player, takes out Nemu in the finals. Congrats to Parfume for taking it down. Looks like the replays have been released as well over on esport.fund. The BSL Season 8, Bonneth takes down Gorinich 4-2 and ends up winning the tournament to nobody's surprise. Bonneth continues to be one of the absolute strongest non-Korean players. Cast by Rapid Nyokin Ziggy in Zero with a big prize pool. Definitely do check that out over on Zero's streaming channel. We also have the Russian Pro League. We're into the round of 8 at this point. Some really good matches in there. Gorinich versus Lancer X, DeWalt versus Defi, SPX versus Casper, and Dreamer versus TTF. Kind of shows you just how deep the Russian StarCraft 1 scene is. You can check that out. It's going to be on Silver's Twitch channel, GG_Silver. Have at you, Sham 2's tournament. DeWalt 2-0'd Oxzerg. Oxzerg making it to the finals of a tournament. I love it. Mr. Massling himself. But defeated some strong players on the way, such as Striker, Terror, and Tai too. Damn, Oxzerg, good work. But DeWalt takes him out at the end of the day. You can check that out over on Sham2's channel. We also have the STPL. This is Kix's team tournament over on SPL TV. Looks like they are down to about the top 4, Soul Gaming, Valhalla, and waiting for some other teams to get up there. We also have LA Land number 2. This is going to be on March 7th in Los Angeles, California at the Freaka TV PC Cafe. And yeah, go to it. It was really a big hit last time. A lot of very strong players ended up showing up and a lot of, less strong players as well. Well, it's a good time for everyone. So don't worry if you're not that good at Brood War. No one is. All right, this week in Awesome, we have introducing the CEA Collegiate Series in partnership with our title sponsor, Gilded, and incredible support from Toby at Shopify, who we had on a previous episode of The Pylon Show. They are proud to announce the Collegiate Series in its premiere game, StarCraft 2. It's going to carry on the spirit of TESPA and offer an outlet for competition for people fighting out with their academic careers. So basically, there's like $25,000 in scholarships on the line for StarCraft 2 players, which is awesome because a lot of the StarCraft 2 got dropped out of the collegiate leagues. So a gigantic cheers and thanks to Toby from Shopify for all the support once again and everyone involved in that. It looks like it's probably going to be casted by Fear Dragon, so you can check out his channel for that. And of course, check out cea.gg for more information on this.
Yeah. I just want to add something here.
Yeah.
That might only affect people who've ever tried playing collegiate sports before. Esports, that is. The previous collegiate esports were great in idea and fairly terrible in execution in terms of management and keeping up with the rules and so on and so forth. So I want to say that the CEA has been absolutely flipping fantastic with actually organizing and like having, rules and paying out on time, and is actually a very mature like company. So it should be like an actually really like lucrative deal as opposed to like getting into these things and then getting kind of like, I don't know, strung around for a while and getting frustrated with lack of admins and stuff. So definitely check it out.
No, that's awesome. It's really good to see that kind of take up the mantle of the collegiate esports too, because while I don't personally pay too much attention other than a head nod towards Suppy for winning everything in the collegiate scene for the past few years, it's like it feels like it's a very cool part of the scene to kind of encourage those players, because it's like sometimes you feel like if you're not a pro gamer, you can't really compete. You know what I mean? Where it's like, but yeah, I don't know. It's very cool. So Toby's doing a lot of good in this scene. It's very, very nice. All right, check out cea.gg. That is this week in StarCraft. All right. So our main subject that we're going to be talking about today is IEM Katowice. Right before that, though, I do want to bring up, there's been a lot of drama popping up, a lot of strong opinions one way or the other about moderation within StarCraft, mostly directed towards StarCraft Reddit and how it should or should not be moderated. We're going to do a bigger episode on that next week. That's the plan right now. I'm going to try to get opinions from all sorts of sides and really present it as unbiased as I possibly can on the show. But I do want to bring it up and just see if you guys have some thoughts and opinions, because a lot of people seem very frustrated right now, and it feels like people aren't really seeing eye to eye on the subject. So I wonder if you guys have opinions. If you don't, that's totally fine as well.
As something I've just kind of observed from the sidelines, I'm kind of on the uninformed opinion that I'm taking, someone who doesn't have the information is like, why does it need to be censored? So I kind of haven't really, in my very brief foray, read a good explanation of why like things are being removed and why it needs to be like other than vague, like, oh, it's too much noise and too much low quality content. But it's like, I don't know, it's a website based around upvoting and downvoting things. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it seems a bit weird to kind of interrupt the organic way that Reddit works.
Do you think that there should be moderation around toxicity? I'm curious, Pig, in the Reddit specifically.
Yeah, to some extent. Like if someone's attacking other people, I'd be down with it like constantly. I think like a little bit of someone just being a dick is okay, because like if there's a lot of people who are a bit snide or aggressive and they get downvoted, that's fine. But like, yeah, there's probably a line. Which I
think that's the problem, because it's really arbitrary, right? You know, like we're willing for some moderation, and then there's like, okay, where's the line on like when's it toxic? When is it like bans? When is it, you know? Like I think for the meme stuff, I don't think low level like memes should ever be banned. I think that stuff should just be downvoted to oblivion. But
yeah,
I think that the overall moderation stuff is like, it's really hard to say because it's extremely arbitrary. You know, I do think that the meme should never be banned ever, though. I don't know about that, unless it's like
was that
completely
drama
irrelevant.
of Rifkin being banned recently, or is
yes.
who's banned?
From what I understand so far, and I'll have a lot more information for this in the future, but so memes in general have been getting removed a lot. Obviously, we've had that just hilarious Warpgate meme that just I love every time when someone's eyes are warping things. But then, yeah, like Rifkin got banned from it, and I believe there were some memes that were up on top today that got banned, which kind of reopened the whole drama a little bit this morning.
Yeah. So it's like a much longer story than what is presented right now. So memes were actually straight up banned for like a very small portion, I think, and then they basically all agreed that was a dumb idea, and they let memes back in. Then they had to qualify and say low effort memes, and unfortunately, low effort means like a lot of different things. So people are saying now that there just needs to be better rules set out, which is fair. And they literally touched on that in Gemini's meme post today. I'm coming at this from like a couple different angles. I was there for the first time when oh shit, what's his name? The guy who makes all the memes.
John,
yes, thank you. I was like a bit a part of it when John got banned, and I think that was totally messed up. And I think even the mods have kind of like, you know, rectified the situation, and I don't know about apologized, but definitely like clarified. But this is kind of a different issue now. So and there's like 3 different issues I feel that are coming forward. Like John being banned was dumb. Memes not being allowed was dumb. Memes being censored so that there's not just a flood of memes is like the crux of the issue right now. And there's no like strict definition. And then there's also that attacks aren't necessarily being censored evenly, right? Like Rifkin was attacked. He actually had a lot of shit thrown at him, and then he throws a little bit shit back. He gets banned, the other guy doesn't. There's so many things going on here, and people like are always conflating them. But I'm also coming at this from a side of knowing a couple of the Reddit mods and knowing that at least 1 or 2 of them are actually very good people who really try and to like improve StarCraft in the community, where everyone just seems to always throw out like, you guys don't do anything, you guys are just power abusing. They'll literally be in there trying to explain themselves. And that's why they said recently that they will have a guidelines in literally soon, not soon TM, but literally by the end of the week for the memes portion. As far as Rifkin being banned, he acknowledged that he probably deserved like a temporary ban because he was digging shit a little bit, he's throwing shit a little bit, but that the other guy didn't is pretty fucked up. Like the guy who was attacking him first was definitely an asshole. So
Yeah.
there you go. I think everyone is confounding like they're mixing up all the problems, and it doesn't really help that like Rifkin also kind of mixed up the problems in his post that he made.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
there you go.
I agree with everything she said.
Yeah.
That's just a
Sounds
like
like a much
upvote.
more
I just
balanced
upvoted
opinion
that.
than most of the things I've.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
That's like a
just-
perfect opinion.
the main one that's been going on for a while with the memes, I think and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but the way I'm remembering it is I feel like about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, there was very few memes on the Reddit anyway,
Right.
just because the community, there was just like a lull in that sort of content. And I feel like the Reddit was just quite a bit quieter and not as fun a place. And even back then, you still, if you had a thoughtful article about something, maybe Taryn crafted an article, maybe Artosis wrote something or had a video going deep on something, it never attracts as many upvotes. That's just the way content works, is people like silly things, and something that you might have to invest 20 minutes in to really get the value out of, you're not going to immediately upvote unless there's a catchy title or something. So I just think I think it's the right thing to try and get more high value content to the top, but I don't think trying to censor memes in any way is going to actually achieve that. Those sort of things just don't do as well on Reddit. They have to grow their own audience over a slower, longer period and spread their word elsewhere. If it's not as clickbaity or as accessible or as instant, it's just not going to do as well on Reddit. As it gets more respected by the community, more people will upvote it when they see it and stuff, and it will start to get spread a little bit more. But like I gave up on trying to spread things on Reddit that were anything shorter than like a very instant quick gratification thing a long time ago, because most of the time it does just get lost in the jumble. So I mean, good intentions, but I think it's the wrong way to go about it. And I remember a time where there were no memes clogging it up, you still could not get good content to the top. So not consistently anyway. That's just Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's right about that. Like any amount of memes is not going to be the reason that you're in depth. Well, I didn't mean literally the show. But
Whoa!
yeah, sure.
Whoa! What's going on here?
Your really analytical style of video is not going to get upvoted. Like, it's
To be
not
fair,
memes.
On a side note, I feel like every time we post in depth, I've never had an issue with getting it on the front page of Reddit.
Yeah,
like, even though that stuff is actually kind of hard to digest, unless people are just like instant upvote because it's in depth.
I think there is a bit of that.
There will be probably, but even like other content, I felt like it always has a chance, especially if it's something I've put a lot of effort into and it's something that I feel comfortable or happy with. I've never had an issue with it with just like 0 upvotes. Like it may not have 1,000, but it'll definitely hit the front page at some point.
I think anytime I've ever had something posted of mine on Reddit, it's been an increase in viewers, even if it didn't make number 1 or something.
I think any front page, even like despite the amount of like upvotes you have, any front page Reddit stuff gets viewed more. Like even if I have 20 upvotes versus 100 or 200. It just depends on how long it lasts on there.
There's an exponential increase if you're like top 5 or 10 though, compared to the very bottom of the front page.
Yeah, I'm
like,
sure there is.
Massive difference.
Yeah.
So like, I agree. Like if you've got good, you'll still get some views, but it won't be hitting the top the way a good "please don't cheese me" meme will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
but
I don't think we never like ban every single "don't cheese me" meme until I get to the top. Like it'll never happen. Even if you banned every single meme ever, I'd probably still the exact same amount of upvotes. I would bet. Like it'd be very similar. So I just don't think the moderation.
Coming back to StarCraft, man, it's like that question's got to be.
like 800. Or is it too late? Is it too late to play StarCraft?
Questions.
Pig was spot on. Like there used to just not be any memes at all, and the 2 gateway thing kind of started it again. And
to be fair, those are like those like some really good times on Reddit, especially like the Hydra meme was like the best thing ever. Like the guy who made this Hydra sculpture. Oh my god.
The problem that we have right now is that unlike many other mainstream esports, we do not have 2 different Reddits, and we don't really have the Reddit count to do so. Some people already brought up in chat, but like Rainbow Six Pro League has a bigger subreddit for its Pro League than the actual Rainbow Six Reddit, but that they still both have sizable communities and they can both do whatever they want, make memes and talk about their Pro League, but we don't. And
Do you think if we had a StarCraft 2 meme subreddit, it would be bigger than the original? Like, let's say
I don't know about
StarCraft 2
that.
just came out and we had 2 subreddits made.
Oh.
StarCraft 2 memes. And now we're here, like 10 years later. Which one do you think would be bigger?
The memes.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
memes would be bigger. And I think having a big subreddit is kind of important, even regardless if it's memes or not. It shows like community activity. We can still get stuff in there and have like meme viewers like, oh look, there's this, you know. Like there is some collision over top of things, and I think having an active and popular subreddit is important. So
Right.
I don't know.
Me too.
I personally don't think we should either divide our community or ban content. I think we just need to find a balance of not banning honestly any memes. I think we should let the upvote system do everything. Let it free.
I know,
That's
like
my
someone
opinion.
literally said like there's TL for serious stuff. There really isn't. Nowadays it's just your community is Reddit, basically.
Yeah, TL is pretty.
You look, it's
pretty,
a lot less active than it really ever has been. I feel like I still check it each day, but there's just not that many posts anymore, and not that many new. Like they still put out some good articles and interviews and stuff, but I'm talking like the forums, for instance, just don't feel active like StarCraft Reddit.
Yeah, for a long time, when you frequent one of those, you get those comments from those people who are just like, well, this is why I stopped playing ladder or something. And you're like, oh, how is this like half of every thread is just someone complaining about some shit who's clearly they just come to Team Liquid out of habit because they used to come and they're like just there to shit on stuff. So I stopped frequent. I used to look through the forum every day there, and I haven't done it in a while. I'll read the articles, I'll go there to watch streams, but I won't actually go into the forum at all. So I just realized, as you said, I'm like, oh, I used to do that every day as well. But like, at some point, I've decided I was
try to
happy
check it
without going in there, man.
Yeah, well, to a certain degree, that does occur on everywhere on the internet once it gets big enough, right? Like I went on StarCraft Reddit and there was some like highlight of my stream or something. I clicked on it, and sitting right there, one of the top comments from literally, you can't make this shit up. Throw away account 69. Just talking shit on me. I'm like, oh.
Do they psychoanalyze you?
Oh, I'm a man child apparently. So yeah, no, that was nice to see. But yeah, really interesting and well thought out opinions from you guys. Better than the ruckus that I was reading beforehand. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of different views from a lot of different sides, and I hope we're gonna invite some mods and stuff, and hopefully get an episode together for next week to talk about it further. But thank you guys for sounding off on that. All right, I think we can go ahead and start talking about our main thing here. IEM Katowice. It is starting so soon. In like 4 days it starts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 20th. So in 4 days this tournament is starting. And Pig and Zombie Grub, you guys are both going, right?
Yep. That's what the thing says.
Okay. So as long as you guys get on airplanes. I'm like, I'm sorry, did I mess something up? I was pretty sure. Okay, so I guess let's just jump into the offline brackets first. So here, I'll link you guys here and we'll put it up on the stream as well.
Qualifier.
Yeah, so let's take a look at bracket number 1 for the offline qualifier. And we'll just go through each of the offline qualifier brackets. The top 3 from each bracket go ahead and advance. 2 out of the winner bracket, so 1 out of each side, and then 1 that wins the loser bracket. And then once we go through there and kind of talk about who is likely to do well or not do well, we can jump into the players that are already qualified and take a look at that, and then we're good. All right. So this bracket, the bracket number 1, let me just go ahead and read it off. It's Hero Marine versus Hours or Awers. I don't know how to say his name actually. Soul versus Denver, Estrella versus Super, Zound versus Patience, SOS versus Ziggy, Shadowin versus Creator, Mana versus Gerald, and Christianer versus Showtime. There is
I like all the Protoss are squished up. Like, yeah. You're looking at this in your Hero Marine, you're like sweating, and then you're like, oh wait, I only have to play 1 Protoss. And there's like 30 of them. Like,
well, he better hope he wins the winner bracket there, huh?
Yeah. Oh, true.
Minefield. Otherwise,
I feel like Denver is so good at ZVP right now, and he would love to be on the other side of this bracket. Like, That is, he's just been slaying Protoss lately, and he's like, really? Soul into Hero Marine? That's two very tough Terran opponents. Like, Denver's not bad against Terran, but I think he's really, his EVP has been slaying the EPT America's Cups the last couple of weeks. So I think if he was like just facing Protoss players here, I would actually favor him to get out, but I don't know how he does versus Hero Marine.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Denver in like the bottom half of this bracket. I think he'd, like if he was in Ziggy's spot, although that's a little bit harder. If he was in the European side, maybe if like Showtime just disappeared from this bracket completely, and we put Denver there, that would be nice. That would be like perfect, you know.
I'd favor Denver versus most of the Protoss players in here. Like
not Showtime though, right?
He's been tearing it up on ladder.
Denver versus Showtime.
Like if
really,
you watch
you'd favor
Showtime's recent
Denver.
streams, he's facing a guy named like Blizzard's favorite MU or something, and it's Denver. And he's just like Denver's been like just like on every single European stream, and he's like really giving them trouble. Showtime was like, he was taking advice from chat, no regret. Advice from chat. Okay. So how to wall off, but still.
Well, that's good. I mean, Denver, I have some experience with him here, and he was one of the players that genuinely practiced a lot and thought a lot and talked a lot about the game. Like, there's like two types of people that come here. There are people that are, you know, here in the party and they practice, but they don't practice the same as certain other players that are just actually here to get better. Like that's their number one goal. And it definitely felt like Denver was truly here just to get better. And like you could see him actually utilizing his time here. So it's nice to actually see him continue to improve when he leaves, like continue to keep going. And I'm happy that we see some more Zerg talent from Europe.
Yes. Nice. I got to give a little bit of a shout out to Denver. He's a really nice guy and thoughtful because he had to share the hour-long taxi with DeMuslim and I on the way to Home Story Cup from the airport. And he was really nice, even though the entire ride, me and DeMuslim were talking about how ridiculous Zerg is. Good guy. Look at the ridiculous amount of Korean Protostas here, right? Like Estrella is actually very, very good PvP, I want to point out. But then like Zaun is in good shape. Patience like delivers. I don't know what we want to say about Patience and his skill level. It's like a very hard.
It's like, yeah, that's a hard thing to say.
He wins, right? And then you got people like, I mean, SOS Creator, all these guys. What is this actually going to look like? I look at this bracket and I'm like, okay, 3 Protoss are just going to come out of this bracket. Like there's too much of it here.
You think so?
I feel like Hero Marine is still pretty set. Like he looks really strong, and just TVP doesn't look that scary for him.
Do you think he can stop Patience when Patience blinks?
Yeah, definitely. I think Patience actually is like an okay shot. I'm a little bit worried about someone that he doesn't know, like Super. If Super is like has a hot streak, again, this is if he's like doing really well or something. Like Estrella is actually pretty scared of Super, he said, and he's sad that Zaun got replaced, you know, instead of Braddock. Obviously, Braddock would have been way nicer. So he is kind of scared of these 4 players. Like this 4 little area could be really scary. But I still think I would give the edge to Hero Marine. But it is possible. I think it would be better if he hit one of those players that he doesn't know though. For that player, like if Super came in through, that could be quite scary. Especially if he's on a hot streak. I really don't know what Super's performance is right now, but Estrella seems scared. So
I think Zaun takes down all the Protoss. Like they've been facing each other so often, so it's not like it's a clear-cut thing. But Zaun has been winning against a lot of them. Actually, it seems like this current meta PvP is really like appealing to him. Like a lot of.
But Joji, Patience PvP. Have you ever seen that?
It's pretty fucking weird.
That is insane.
Yeah, and that's like kind of what's working. So.
Yeah.
Everyone's hiding their second pylon and either using it or not using it.
True. Yeah.
This could be totally up in the air, but I think statistically I would give it to Zaun, but man, Patience could be so scary.
Again, he's such a strange player, but I've seen him do some cool stuff. Like he'll do the damage and he'll be like, he has to all in me. Then he builds 5 cannons in his natural. And I'm like, what am I looking at?
And then the other guy just builds probes and then it's an even game because there's 5 cannons in his net. It's like, what?
I think Hero Marine's kind of got it.
Yeah?
Yeah, and then I think bottom bracket, I'm still going to give it to Showtime. Yeah.
No way. That's never happened.
You don't think SOS is going to rip through that bracket like it was nothing?
No.
I agree. I guess SOS is going to rip this bracket.
Let's not forget, this is an offline tournament, and it's got a huge prize pool.
Yeah, that hasn't been true for the last year and a half, though.
He's off and on. I mean, he's hot and cold. That's SOS.
Just on a long cold streak.
But I feel like he looks at a bracket with like this many Protosses, and he probably is not even practicing. He's probably playing League of Legends right now. Sure, he's going to get into the next round.
That's a great reason as to why he will win that bracket.
I feel like a lot of the time I'd be willing to put money on matches, but I wouldn't put money on anybody in this bracket. You know what I mean? Like, I actually feel like this bracket is quite, besides like the outliers of Ziggy and maybe like Awyers obviously, and Soul. Soul is like never someone I put money on an offline tournament yet. Like, he really has never delivered in my opinion. But you know, everyone else, there's like quite a few question marks. I mean, Mana can do really well. Showtime could be really well. SOS could show up. Zaun is pretty much a question mark. I mean, Hero Marine should get in, but you know, who knows? This would be a really hard one for me to put money on. Whereas other times I'm looking at Raynor, I'm like, oh, that's an easy one for him. Or I'm looking at like X and that's an easy one for him. I really don't feel like that for anybody here. Like, definitely not a clear favorite for me in anybody.
I would bet on Denver and SOS. SOS is great at PvP. I know it's been cold as well, but I think he'll bring it back in this meta.
I don't
There's
know.
going to be some
But
big
Pig, there's three spots.
Every Protoss is good at PvP and also bad at PvP right now.
SOS
a good way to
defies
put it.
logic. You know,
It does.
the upside down.
Oh my god, this is like the same thing I've heard about Haas for the last 2 years.
Haas came second.
Comes up again.
Haas came second at a tournament. Don't forget.
2 years ago.
Don't rain on my dreams, guys. Shut up, experts. Third place spot, I reckon, goes to one of the Germans, but it could easily be Patience. It could be, could be a creator, but I think
I feel like the third spot comes to a Korean for sure. It's gonna happen. If we go to the lower bracket of Protosses, and it's gonna be a Korean Protoss.
I think
Zaun
will bomb just because first big LAN outside of Korea. That's all. But
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
That is a big point, right? I don't believe he's ever traveled outside of Korea, and even within Korea, I don't know if he's played much LAN at all. Like maybe qualifiers, but
Pro League.
Well, he's definitely played in offline Korea.
A little bit, yeah.
He has a ton of probably offline experience with the old system. I don't know how fresh that is in his mind, but he was definitely a person that showed up too. Like when we actually had the opportunity of playing him in 2016, and he was really scary. Like, he clearly did not have nerves. He was clearly playing top of his game. So if he can maintain that, like past 2016, it was when that was, and bring it into IEM, I would say he's definitely going to be the same level that he is online right now. So we'll see, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So top three, who's everyone's top three here? Winner of top bracket, winner of bottom bracket. Who wins the loser bracket?
I don't know how the loser bracket will like work out, so it's very possible. I mean, as in like how they drop down. Sorry, how they drop down, like logistically. But I'm gonna go with my hopes and dreams. Hero Marine, Showtime, and then I really want to give Estrella a shot, but I think it's also his first like IEM, and it's probably not going to work out very well. So I'll go with Denver. I think he gets dropped down to like a bunch of Protosses.
Wow.
And then does
3 foreigners?
Racism.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
my favorite Koreans are in the other brackets.
Okay. Fair enough. So
Man,
3 non-Korean
Koreans
players.
really show up at IEM. Like, every time I look at one of these brackets, I'm like, oh yeah, foreigners are pretty good. I mean, they're all European. They don't fly much, and then they just get bopped. Like, dude, they get proper bopped every time. I swear.
We have so many cool like non-Korean tournaments that are always going on, and like they have these personalities and they stream and stuff, and it's like easier to get them into tournaments. So I feel like this is the tournament where the Koreans that are just sitting around get to come back and be like, listen, yes, Cyril's better than us, but we're still better than everyone else. Okay. So I look at this and I'm saying that we are getting like, for sure, SOS.
I think at least 2 Koreans are getting out of this.
Yeah, I think we'll get 2 Koreans, but like, I think you guys make a good argument about Hero Marine. Like that is doable for him. Yeah, I would go with like a Hero Marine, SOS, and then like maybe Patience coming out of the bottom. That's my guess. I don't know.
I think patience is like either the momentum and like the level where he either just busts through this bracket immediately or he's out because he's not very good. You know what I mean? Like I just don't find a middle ground where he's like, oh yeah, patience is just average today. You know, like it just average patience just gets bopped. I think we're my predictions Hero Marine, SOS, and then Zown. I'm gonna go with Zown.
All right. What do you say, Pig?
Sticking with just Denver. I believe in the power of Denver. I think it's his time. I'm going with SOS, PvP Magic, and I think we got one of the Germans in the third place match. If I had to choose one, I'd say Hero Marine, but you know, it could be one of those. Could be Super, Patience. I'd probably say Patience or one of the Germans. Pretty wishy-washy, but I'm pretty confident in Denver. I think he's just really good right now.
I think all these predictions are pretty strong. And then I like glance back at the bracket and I keep forgetting Showtime's in here because it doesn't feel right that he's in like this type of bracket, not just already in the tournament. But then I look and I notice Mana's still in there. And I feel like he could really surprise because like he is always underrated. And he delivers a lot of the time where he'll just be like, yeah, did you guys forget I'm one of the best? Like, I don't know. Anyways,
this is why I said this bracket would be so scary. Like I'd never put money on it because like if Mana gets out, not surprising. If Zown gets out, not surprising in my opinion. If Denver gets out, that's a little surprising to me, but not with Pig hyping up like to level 9,000 over here. So maybe it's not that surprising. Hero Marine, not surprising. You know, like that's way more than 3 already. So I would never put money on any of these people just because there's too many strong contenders. I'd love to see Australia get through. I mean,
that would be awesome.
He's looking really great right now. I think it's really hard for him, but he definitely could do it. It would just be a crazy run for him. Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's jump to bracket number 2. There's our Zerg players. All right. Bracket number 2. I'll go ahead and read these names. Armani versus Nitix, Nurchio versus TLO, Haas versus Kos.
I want to cost that.
You want to cost that?
I want to cost it. I want to cost Haas versus Kos. Freaking terrible.
Zipper the Fly versus Impact, Innovation versus Vanya, Skilius versus Probe, Goblin versus Bly, and Art versus Neeb. Our thoughts.
I love how Innovation is just stuck in this bracket because like you know like all these other names are kind of you know like I think there's definitely good. Like Neeb is definitely good, but then Inno just pops out. I'm like, what the hell? Like you know,
yeah, but
he's
Inno's
like the next level.
Well,
do not say anything negative about Inno. Okay.
I mean, he's my favorite Terran, but what is his performance in the last 6 months?
Well, there's nothing in 6 months, so you know nothing.
We've had like 4 dead months. Like this is the longest.
Yeah, his latter results are pretty
GSO
sick.
versus the World, nothing. GSO Season 3, nothing. BlizzCon he didn't even get to. Home Story Cup was nothing.
Yeah, he's just been powering up. he's literally been practicing for IEM since then. I promise.
I mean, that makes sense to me. I'm with you, Jake. I'm with you. But
if your prediction isn't Innovation, you're just wrong. Okay.
So I put it down to Innovation and Neeb in that finals for like the top one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that one's fairly secure. And then
does anyone disagree with that?
No.
There we go. Okay.
I think that will be it.
And then it really is like a question mark to me, like who gets through that. Whoever loses it gets through the bottom as well, is what I'm going with. And then the top bracket, the top bracket was really difficult for me. I actually really don't know about the top bracket. I'm going to take away the Europeans, to be honest, and I'm just going to go between Armani and Impact.
Yeah, that's my total gut. Is that's the top 4 of this is Armani, Impact, and Innovation Neeb. That really looks it.
Here's what's gonna happen because you're both wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Haas goes through Kos, not even close. Okay, Kos is tanking up and stuff, and Haas is just doesn't care. Okay, he just killing your tanks. Okay, he goes through it, hits Impact. Impact tries to cheese Haas. Hilarious, right? Not happening. Haas hits like a 2-base Immortal Sentry. Completely obliterates Impact's dumb whatever Ravager Ling all in off of 1 base, whatever it is. Completely demolishes him. 2-0 somehow. Don't even talk about the second game. It doesn't happen. Then he hits Armani, and Armani's like, huh, easiest bracket of my life. I got Haas to qualify, right? Nuh-uh. Haas goes for the proxy robo. Armani's already ready for it, still loses somehow, okay? Now Armani's tilted. Armani goes for a 12-full. What? Why are you going 12-full, man? Okay? proxy 4 game. You're like, oh shit, what's going on? And then the zealots get recalled back home, deals with the 6lings at home, and then Armani's like building spines, right? But Haas builds a cyber core. Okay. And then he has this weird contain with stalkers and shield batteries at the bottom of the ramp. And then he goes into double Stargate on the map, right? And then there's just a million oracles. And then he wins. Haas just gets in. That's what's going to happen.
This was one of the weirdest predictions I've ever heard in my whole life. Like, you literally try to tell us what's going to happen in every game.
It's going to happen.
I mean,
it's like fan fiction. That's like the long gamble, you know, but he's rolling the dice hard. He's like,
the long gamble, it is.
Like, yeah, it's just like, you know what? Like, if I get even half of this right, people will think I'm a goddamn fool. Like, this is...
No, but all seriousness, Haas is not getting out of this bracket, so. I would love it though.
All try to cheese him, like
unless
you said.
all that happens,
tries to one base Haas, then he's got it.
Okay.
So my actual prediction.
This is not as nearly as interesting as the first bracket, by the way. I want to say
Armani gets through. I think Innovation gets through in the second, and then Neep comes through in the finals, like the lower bracket. That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. Like, I've always got my eye on Skillis and Goblin. You know, the young uns. They're coming up and kicking butts, but it's just Innovation and me. But like, I just can't possibly give Goblin or Skillis more than a 30% chance versus either of those. Especially, I mean, it's best of 3. It's not best of 5, but it's pretty unlikely you're gonna make it past both of those. So yeah, it's hard to look past Neeb, Inno, and I would say Armani actually looks a bit better than Impact lately, but that's because I haven't seen Impact play lately, whereas I have seen Armani and he looked quite good.
And because it's going up in YouTube, Innovation did do well at Home Straight Cup, actually. Chad was very quick to remind us. I just thought that didn't mean anything. But no, I still hold my prediction to what I did.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's the 3 Korean players that are actually going to get out, but I could see Neeb possibly beating. Like, if Impact falls to the lower bracket, I could definitely see Neeb beating Impact. I think it'd be a little bit harder against Armani, maybe, because I agree. I think he looks pretty good right now. I think TLO is going to have a surprisingly good year to a lot of people, but I don't know if he's going to make it out of this bracket, because it feels like just Innovation is just going to get out. That's just like it's coming, it's happening.
It's eating happening.
And then you look at the other players, even though the overall strength of the bracket doesn't seem to compare to bracket number 1, there's like some big roadblocks in there. Armani and Impact are serious top 6 Korean Zergs. And milk just came out of Lambo's nose. Top 6 Korean Zerg. And obviously Neve is super strong, but yeah, I think the Korean players. All right. I think that's good for bracket number 2.
On a side note, just before we go on, I think Armani is going to do ridiculously well in this tournament compared to like expectations. Like, I know I've said that he's going to get out of this group, but I also think he is like a really scary Zerg for people to play against.
He's good. Right,
I'm really hyped for him this year because I think we casted some GSL day where we're just like, he's just so close, and it was like someone really good. And we're like, he played so well too, you know, like it was just so sad to see him go in this way. And we're like, he's going to be scary as hell next year, just based off of that series that we watched. I don't know what it was, but I remember this vividly in a comment.
It was his VVT. I forget who it was against.
Yeah.
But he like went hold position lurker and stuff. It was like really cool. It didn't quite work out, but it's a good idea. All right, on to bracket number 3. All right, bracket number 3, we have Sue versus Razorblader, Risky versus DNS, Bunny versus Zanster, Nice versus Petit Drogo, Hurricane versus Space Marine, DRG against Clem, Harstem versus Namshar, and Polt versus Special. That is a cool bracket.
That is a really cool bracket, yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I'm excited for every single matchup except for Sue versus Razorblader. That's the only one.
I don't care as much for Hurricane versus Space Marine personally, but
for you guys,
I love Hurricanes, so you know.
Have you guys seen much of DRG, Dongri? What's the hot goss? Because I know nothing.
Only a little.
The same thing as the other guys I was talking about.
Whispers on the Korean ladder say that he's reincarnated. Whispers.
Really?
Yeah, there are some whispers of like some 6/8 barcodes of being DRG.
Yeah.
Damn, 6/8.
I don't think it's legit. So, but he does look okay. He looks like if he beat Clem, I'd be very surprised, but I don't know. I think Clem is also like someone who's really looking good, so I'd be very surprised if DRG beat Clem. But I'd love to see it because I love DRG.
This is such a hard bracket for me to predict. I'm just kind of looking at it and I'm like, oh, so many things could happen.
I'm kind of heartbroken seeing Polt for special. I just want to throw out there because I'm like, oh, these are two players I really want to do well.
I mean,
Special's gonna bop him. He's gonna be bopping in. There's gonna be an absolute bopping in. Yeah, Polt is out.
Damn,
if this was Razorblader versus Polt, I'd be like, I think Polt has a chance. Polt versus Special, nah.
Last time
Polt
competed at this tournament, he came second 4 years ago, 2016. Second to Hydra.
Damn.
A little bit different time.
Good time, yeah.
A little bit of a different time.
Sir Gimba.
Polt is getting good very quickly, but he's got a while to go. It's kind of at that stage where when Potting first came back and he was like streaming and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go pro again. And everyone was like, oh, you think Potting's gonna win this GSL season? And I was like, come on, like he's been gone for like a year and a half or 2 years or something. Like it's gonna take more than 2 weeks of streaming ladder to get back like to the top. Come on. Like, give it some time, guys. Like, don't get me wrong, if Polt commits himself, I think he's got enough talent to like climb back up there. Obviously Potting, the example of someone who's just sick good right now. So yeah, I think Polt could get back up there in a few tournaments time later this year. He could start really having some nice performances. He's taking maps off people in online stuff, off really good kind of, currently performing pros. He just hasn't really won any big series that I've seen. Bunny is someone who I look at in this bracket, tends to do well in these open brackets. But I think Sue's going to just dominate that top side and go straight through everybody. On the bottom side, it's really a huge toss-up, but I definitely think Special is the biggest favorite. And behind him, I have no idea. Is Hurricane going to show up? Will Harstem show up? Is DRG in good form? Clem, like you were saying, is great. But I have absolutely no hard bets whatsoever who comes out of that little section of the bottom bracket.
I want to comment on what you're saying about Polt and Parting. I feel like Parting got improved a lot quicker than Polt, despite them playing very similar amount of games. Like Polt plays a lot of games. I saw his account had a lot of games played, but it felt like Parting came up like much steeper curve. Although that he does play.
He plays Protoss and he builds cannons.
Yeah, I was about to say he does play Protoss, so we do have to give him that.
He builds cannons a lot. Like he's, Parting's so aggressive in his opponent's face. So like he was very quickly doing really nasty things to Terran, I remember. And you'd be like, ooh, can he beat like a TY or something? And then he'd just get outmatched at a certain point. But like there's something about Parting style where I feel like he's always able to like punch up and take the fight to other players and really put the pressure on them because he's such a controlling player with the way he just hits really sharp attacks.
With the play he plays, he can take down pretty high names too, so that gives a bit more like publicity, like taking games off of Inno and Dark or whoever in the very beginning. It's not that surprising if you're going like Cannon Rush or stuff, but if it was Polt, you'd be like, whoa, like it must have been like a relatively standard game, so that would be impressive. But yeah, I still feel like this is really tough. Like Polt was not at that level yet. He's like what 6,100, 6K. I mean, Special's around 6.5 on Korea. Hurricane's around 6.5, 6.6. I mean, this would be a really hard group. I know ladder's not everything, but if you play enough, it can be a pretty good, measurement here. I don't see Polt ever getting out of this group. I think Hurricane has a good shot if he plays really well. It's really hard because all these players have a really good shot if they play well. If Special has a really good shot if he doesn't just like noob it up, because he definitely does that sometimes. Namshar looks really scary when he's sick. Harstem looks really scary when he's sick. Clem looks really scary when he's sick. So the bottom bracket, I don't know. Top bracket, I definitely see Stu as a favorite though. I don't really see anybody here giving him a big fight. I don't even think Bunny can. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
So I'll go with Stu, and then I'll go with Special, and then maybe Clem. But I'd love to see Hurricane get out. I want to see Hurricane get out so badly. If my heart could just put in a vote, my heart wants Hurricane to get out. Hurricane, I don't know if he sent himself, but last time he did, and he did so well. So, and he was so happy. He's such a nice guy. He's like easily one of the nicest Koreans I've ever met in my entire life. So I'd love to see him do well.
Oh, what the heck? Doesn't make any sense. I don't know about Sue. Like Sue's the safe bet to make it through. Obviously. Like, but I do wonder, it's like one of the big things about the tournament after the the break. It's not like he did particularly well until he was forced to do very well last year. If you recall, he was actually about to bomb out of his group last and then like found in himself again to win, and then he went on to win it, which is awesome. But I don't know. I feel like with Sue, like also being stressed about like this potential like military deadline apparently that he's up against. And just like his performance in those qualifiers, which I've got like seen a few. I didn't like think it was like the best thing ever. I think there's a chance that he loses against someone like Drogo, who's been putting in like all the hours and all the work in Korea. He seems to be doing pretty well there. But I guess for safety's sake, I'll say Stu still makes it through. And then Clem wins top and Special wins bottom. Yeah.
I think Sue had some really uninspiring play, like to speak on what you're saying. I think we did it in depth and we definitely felt like there was some things that were lacking in like in standard Sue. But I feel like if Sue definitely gets on that plane and leaves this country, there's like no way he is not fully there and like ready. This is like one of his last massive tournaments of his possibly of his entire career. You know, like there's nothing more important than this. And he's always showed up when it's so important. Always. I mean, coming second an infinite amount of tournaments and winning last one, IEM, like it's so important for him to do well here. Like I don't see him not showing up and at least getting out of this group. Don't know about winning the whole thing, but definitely getting out of this group. I'm hoping that, assuming he does get out of the country, that he just collects himself and has an amazing showing and like a grand finale for his career. You know, that's what I hope for.
He's so experienced and his mechanics are so strong. It's like he's just such a good guess to get out of a bracket like this. Stuff like not being nervous and macroing well. That's like, I feel like that's what you need to just guarantee your way out. So I can't imagine Sue not coming out of this group. Yeah, obviously I think like Special should probably come out. I'm actually kind of looking at Drogo. You know, he's been out here practicing really, really hard. He's a strong player, and like I don't see anyone that I'm like, oh, you can't beat him. You know, it's like it's doable.
Yeah,
I think Drogo would have a really tough time against Sue.
Against Sue, but Sue is gonna like. I think Sue just wins that bracket, right?
Yeah. Well, that automatically puts him in a lower bracket. I think it's really hard for him to get out of a lower bracket spot, unless he gets out. I mean, I guess if he's in the qualifying match and gets dropped down, he won't have to play very many people. So
yeah, like
possible.
2 matches or whatever.
Yeah, it's a hard group for him though. Nice can be really scary too. Like I would never underrate Nice.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's just a pretty solid player, honestly. I'm really happy that we have like a solid Taiwanese player, and then we have Haas on the side. They're like pretty sick duo.
Yeah, I know some people in chat are like sleeping on Bunny, but Bunny's been doing pretty well. I feel like if it were somehow Bunny versus Sue in the qualifying match, there's a chance that Bunny does like really big mech bullshit. Sue seemed to be okay against it, but then you have like very conflicting reports where like Terrans are like, we can't do it anymore. Storm must be really good. And then literally Sarah was just like, no, mech's actually amazing. So I don't know. I guess like in my mind, if it was Bunny versus Sue, I'd be a little more worried. If it's Drogo versus Sue, I still think Sue gets out, but Drogo can definitely perform very well in this tournament to beat Bunny in the first place.
I think
Bunny's
Bunny
had a
definitely
really rough year. Like the last year or so, he like missed multiple GSLs, which he normally never did, and just I felt like he under-delivered everywhere. It was really kind of sad. He had like one good GSL season, then everything fell apart for a while.
Yeah, that's what happened. There's a couple of Terrans that had that happen, actually. But yeah, and I think as for Clem versus Special, I think it's like if Clem doesn't get out first, I actually think he might just bomb out of the bottom lower bracket. I think he still has some stability issues after losing. But I actually really believe in him to take like a TVT versus Special and defeat everyone else.
I think Bunny versus Special, like Special has so many high opinions on, or so many, not high opinions, sorry. He has Bunny's number, it felt like. Like I remember we were talking and discussing before he played it at GSL, and he predicted what Bunny was going to do, and Bunny did exactly that and got absolutely demolished because Special just had his
load
number.
up all his medevacs.
Yep, it was load up all his stuff and boost
yeah.
into the main, and
Well.
he was just like, "I've got my army here," and the game was over.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how, but there was a very predictable stuff, and he even predicted like the next game. It wasn't exactly the same, but it was similar in a different way, and it felt like if they play against each other, Special definitely has like really strong opinions on what Bunny will do, and if Bunny does it, then Bunny is getting bopped. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be really hard if they play against each other, I feel like. And Bunny, I don't know if Bunny shifted his playstyle much. I don't think he has. I think that's part of the reason why he does well sometimes, and he just kind of has underwhelming stuff sometimes as well. If the people like he play against really understand him, he just gets bopped.
Yeah.
I'd love for him to shift it up a bit because his mechanics are actually really good. It's just his decision making can be questionable.
Definitely agree with that assessment. All right. Any other thoughts on this bracket before number 4?
I have heard 2020 is going to be the year of Hearthstone. Apparently, that's some fresh news.
Risky did beat stats. Okay. No, wait, took a game off stats. He beat stats. He beat stats.
Well, it's just this is such a Katowice bracket, right? It's like there's so many good players. It's like sometimes you don't even talk about someone who's insanely good, and like Namshaw's in there. He's looking good lately. It's just too many names to talk about. It's always super hard to get through these qualifying matches.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with your point. I was gonna say about Namshar. He's been like living in Canada.
Yeah,
with his girlfriend, I think. So that was a big question mark for me because I think 7 months ago I'd be like, "Yep, eventually."
Girlfriends are career killers. I can.
Aren't they though? I mean,
they are.
God,
girlfriends
woman,
are.
right?
If you leave your country for a girlfriend too, that's a career suicide right there. I scratch Namshar out. He's just don't even. Why are you even flying? You know, is it vacation time?
Damn.
No, I mean, I hope he does well, but you know, it's scary. Every time I hear anyone has a girlfriend, I'm just like, nope, they're done. Just get them out of here.
There's like one exception that I can't even remember right now. Ethermo still had like peaks.
Yeah.
He still does well enough.
Does he though?
I think he does as well as before he had a girlfriend.
I've heard if you have any interests in life outside of playing 14 hours a day,
has anybody seen Kelzer?
You're done.
I haven't seen him in a while. I know he has a girlfriend.
When he first moved to the Netherlands, he like actually had a surprising like bump in like his skill and looked really good. And then I think it's
because he's like, hey guys, I'm retired, and then like the very next week I'm reporting some tournament that he like got second in or something. I'm like, what? Why do we pretend?
Every Terran player, especially the moment a Terran player stops caring, becomes the strongest he's ever been for like a month or two, and then he drops.
Just disappears, falls off the face of the earth. Yeah,
it's the Koreans. The Koreans got girlfriends and they're fine, but they didn't leave the country.
All the Koreans do that actually.
Jake did make a good caveat that if they leave the country, to like hang out with their girlfriend.
That's really bad. That's like way too much commitment on the girlfriend there. You know, I feel like all the Koreans have like girlfriends on side burners where they're like, you know, you're 50%, StarCraft 50%, but if you're flying, that's like 80% girlfriend, and that's like a threshold you can't be a pro gamer with.
Above 80%.
You gotta do like there's a threshold. I know there is.
Oh no.
You know what? I'll release a book. This will help all the pro gamers. I'll explore the threshold. I'll ignore my girlfriend some days and speak to her other days and figure out what the threshold is. I'm sure she'll be fine with it.
With Umpleby.
Yeah. Balancing life and game. That'll be the book's name.
Oh no.
Good stuff.
90% game, 10% life.
I'll buy the ebook, man. I'll buy the ebook.
Awesome. I got a sale already. Now I got to do it. I mean,
can you send
$10.
me a copy of it when you buy it, Pig? Because I'm not spending any money on that
book. I'll ship it to you. No worries, man.
Damn.
This is some of the worst scientific logic I ever heard. All right, so we got Sue, we got probably Special, maybe Clem, and then Hurricane-ish. Is that about where we are? If I could describe everyone's opinions at once.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
little pinch of Drogo in there, maybe.
A sprinkle. I wouldn't give him a pinch.
No. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at bracket number 4. All right, bracket number 4. Trap versus Damaga. Hellraiser versus Sort of. Lambo versus Hate Me. Cuddle Bear versus Dream. Ragnarok versus Ranger. Rail versus Euthermal, Kelliger versus Vindicta, Inzane versus Deer. That's an interesting bracket.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
Care
the
to
world's best
elaborate?
Protoss player. World's best Protoss player
don't
at the
think
top of
so?
that one.
The world's best pro slayer. Hellraiser.
Oh, Kellister
Agreed.
actually showed up. Damn. I feel like this is one of the brackets where I feel like the Koreans stand out quite a bit to me, versus the foreigners. Like, yeah, this looks like a really like Trap is. There's no way Trap doesn't get out. Dream is really scary. Ragnarok is really scary.
Yeah,
Deer
Ragnarok's
is really scary.
good right now. Yeah,
Yeah, like I feel
all
like the
four
Koreans,
of those Koreans are really good right now.
all these Koreans are a step above, in my opinion. Lambo's scary, but I don't know, man. I feel like I wouldn't give him an edge over any of these ones. Maybe Dream. So I feel like my prediction is definitely going to be all Korean. I'll go with it just to start it off. I'll go with Trap for sure. I'll go with Deer, and then I'm going to go with Ragnarok too. It could be the other way around too. I think Ragnarok could definitely come out first, and then Deer in the losers. Ragnarok is really scary.
Agreed.
I like Dream a lot right now. I'm like a little biased towards
I'd
him.
absolutely
I like
love
his
Dream
play.
to get through, by the way. I would pick, like, if I had to pick one person to get through, it would be Dream, like my heart. I would really love it.
Yeah, I think Ragnarok and Trap can't be stopped. Like they are going to get out of here. But then I feel like third place is probably between Dream and Deer. I could see Dream taking that. I could. Like, I know Deer's good. He's like one of these ridiculously highly respected Protosses that doesn't quite deliver to the level that his peers respect him. It's a strange thing. I feel like Lambo's kind of like that as well, where everyone's like, Lambo's really good and he does well and Deer does well, but they don't like win the tournaments, you know?
Yeah,
Deer has really high highs too, though. Like sometimes when you look at Deer, he's like, "Oh, this might actually just be the best Protoss in the world right now," you know. And then he'll just kind of peter off a bit. So I think that's why people highly respect him, because he has these like short runs of being one of the best, like practice, especially for practice. So
was it 2013 where was he like won season 3 of GSL and then made it to top 4 of BlizzCon? It was Deer where Jaedong unburrowed the roaches under him, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, when
he won WCS Toronto something in Canada.
I think his results have never really gone through his skill too, though. Like people have really respected his play over his results sometimes because they've practiced with him and they just know where he is at some points
as well, right? Like he's got a very different style. I always think of Deer as playing a bit more like a foreign Protoss, and I always hear about
he's like a sprinkle of his own style, you know. He's like his own chef of Protoss.
I feel like sometimes he crumbles mechanically under the pressure a little bit, though. Like sometimes I've seen Deer and I'm like, oh, I think you've got this game, and like the multitask fails sometimes under intense pressure.
I feel like that comes down a bit to decision making, though. I feel like a lot of the times I feel like Deer's in a really good spot and then just makes a weird decision that I don't necessarily agree with, where he's like going for a throat or like attacking too heavily committed somewhere or something, and then it's just like, well, now we don't have an advantage we had. I don't know. Like it definitely feels like he's mechanically there all the time. And then he just makes really weird decisions with either his build or his attacking decisions.
Actually,
I don't know.
Like, I think I kind of know what you mean, but I think that for me, I look at Deer, and the problem oftentimes with him is that he's slightly off of what the metagame actually is. The amount of tournaments he falls out of where like a totally normal build comes and just kills him because he's doing something that's like a little bit old. Like, he got eliminated from 2 GSL seasons in a row when like a cyclone walked to his base and he died. It was like that happens every TVP, and it's just like it walks up and he has like an adept, and then he just dies, and it's like, like I know it's hard, but we figured out how to deal with this 1 month ago. I promise you.
Yeah, I remember that. That was bizarre. It was one of those moments where you're like, I feel better about my performance on ladder today, but like I feel really bad that you're losing from here because this shouldn't happen, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. The old cyclone games. I'm kind of happy that we don't have the boom boom A move cyclone anymore. The tanky 180 hit point beast. That thing was a monster.
Some of the other like notes, I think we all agree on who's gonna make it out, but some of the other notes and like the players that we aren't talking about. I was thinking mostly like Euthermal, right? Euthermal is always like the hope He
Very
was
much
at
so.
one point, I guess, in contention for like that foreigner spot, and then kind of dropped out. A lot of other Korean or non-Korean Terrans come up. I just think he gets beat by Ragnarok, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I
think
mean,
he
he
could
might
upset
make it like
Deer.
a run to the bottom, but what?
I
I think
actually think he could upset Deer, but like Ragnarok's hard,
Right?
right? Just his
Yeah.
TVZ.
You know,
Yeah.
Ragnarok, I think, is actually going to go far in the whole tournament. Not only is he absolutely going to get out of this bracket, but I think he's going to get out of his group as well.
Mm-hmm. I see people bringing up Vindicta and Kelazur. Like Kelazur, I think can like do well, but not enough to make it through against like these guys.
Oh, whoa.
can win.
Kelazur's life to StarCraft ratio is way the hell off. Okay,
Exactly.
he's not going
Exactly.
anywhere. He's getting put down by Vindicta. I bet. No, I'm just kidding. He's definitely getting put down
Vindicta.
by the next
Vindicta's
one.
gotten pretty good.
It
I think
can
actually Vindicta
happen.
wins.
I'm actually surprised to
against-
see Vindicta coming to an offline event in IEM, and that's kind of cool. Is this
Yeah, it's
one of
pretty
his
sick.
first?
Yeah, well, he went to Ozcraft, but yes. He's actually like he's really hyped about the next 3 years. It's really cool about a lot of the guys who, especially the North Americans and especially the Americans, I would say, with our lack of safety nets, to have our young players actually be like, you know what, I'm thinking about taking a gap year and I'm gonna actually put a lot of work into this. He was one of those guys. And I think he can meet that expectation, but future's ahead of him in that kind of regard. So I think he can beat Kelazur, of course, but then he dies to Deer.
Yeah. Lots of
Yeah.
life to StarCraft ratios are off in this group, though.
Totally.
Like Kelazur and Euthermal, life to StarCraft ratios are questionable.
I actually think Euthermal's secret sauce at the moment is the fact that he seems to have an air about him of like being very chilled around his results at the moment, which is not the traditional Euthermal. Obviously known as one of the kind of guys who would get a bit more tilted and angry, and I'm sure he still does. But like I look at the builds that Euthermal pulls out, and he pulls out like BC rushes and TVP and just these bizarre, crazy gambles, and I think it gives him an edge because I think that that's where he's good, and I think especially in TVT and TVP, Euthermal's very scary. If he had a TVP TVT bracket, I'd be talking a lot more about Euthermal. But because he's getting Ragnarok in the second round, it's going to be kind of a bit of luck depending on who he gets in the lower bracket.
I want to speak a bit on Ranger, but I don't think Ranger's results are going to be of anything. I just said I know him and he's an unknown name here and I'd like to give him a little bit of exposure. But Ranger came to Korea and practiced quite a bit and improved quite a bit, actually. He started at like maybe 48, 49. I mean, there's pretty low MMR. He's probably one of the bottom threshold for the house, and he ended at like 5,600 Korea,
Wow.
which is pretty good. Like that's a
That's a
very
big
sizable.
improvement.
It's probably one of the biggest improvements of the house ever. Well, obviously starting at the lowest. He did relatively okay in the SEA Games or whatever. I think that was a big one for him. I think this is going to be a hard one for him to actually do anything in, but this is one of the best experiences, I think, if you are an aspiring programmer, is to actually show up and do your best and lose if you have to, but participate, be there, spend your own money, and meet everybody and just have a great time. So I hope he does truly have a great time. And if you're watching this, I'm cheering for you, even though it's not going to go well, probably.
It's a
nice
big trip.
Just have a good time. If that's my advice to you, okay? Use your time, meet everybody, hang out, and enjoy yourself.
Quick question, right? Are we selling short on Sort of in Lambo a little bit here? Like I know we've mentioned him some, but Sort of's been in Korea for a bit. I mean, he's pretty steadily practicing in Korea. The life ratio, it's too high.
It's a little high, yeah. He goes to the gym,
like
Yeah.
I'm
just kidding.
What about Lambo? Like, he's been one of the top European Zergs for quite some time. Like last year, it didn't feel like his results were quite as good as the year before, but it wasn't that far off. And there's a lot of strong players right now, but
he's still good, right? Like Lambo's still good, but maybe hopefully he feels very hungry going into this, because a year ago we would have been talking about Lambo quite a bit more in this bracket. With the level of respect we give to maybe a Hero Marine or a Showtime or something like that, right? Which we talked about a lot in that bracket. I think it's good. I think the pressure's off Lambo's shoulders, so I think he's just got to be like, hey, come on, give me some respect and get in there and fight it. He could definitely do some stuff, but it's whether or not he can change the pattern of the last 6 months, I guess. So he's got.
I'm a little scared too for Dream too, like TVZ. Like Dream could be really scary. I think the Terrans of Korea could be really scary for any European Zerg. I mean, they do their own little flavor of TVZ. It's different than the Europeans, and it could be really hard to overcome that without being here. And he hasn't been here at all. I don't know how much he knows about Dream. I mean, yeah, I'd love to see him do well, but I think it's just really hard for him to actually take out all like one of the like if he gets down to the lower bracket and has to play like Deer or Dream or one of these people. I don't know. It's hard. These Koreans are good, all of them. I mean, though he doesn't like Koreans, so maybe he really doesn't want to lose to Koreans. I'd love to see. I mean, maybe he's hungry to just bop everybody, just to demolish Trap and go right through. I don't know.
Yeah, he lost out in the European qualifiers to Zergs, North American and European. Lambo, sorry, talking Lambo. And I don't think his EVT would beat Dream. I guess we are underselling him a bit because even though his last year was not very good, he talked a little bit about that actually in his Team Liquid interview. That it kind of was one of those like snowball effects where he just stopped having motivation when BlizzCon became increasingly out of reach. Which is obviously it's a fresh year, it's a fresh system, it's the biggest tournament. Like really, I don't think he's for lack of motivation.
And a lot more people actually make it to the World Finals, which will be at Katowice next year. So I could see that actually adding motivation because like making top 8 in your region for the previous BlizzCons, that's hard. You have to have like good brackets and stuff. You have to not meet Cyril or Raynor too early and things like that. And it's a little bit out of your hands in a way. But with the way Katowice is going to be, it's like, oh, that's so doable. As long as you just play really well as Lambo all year, you're going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And you're still going to have the last minute qualifiers, even if you're not kind of seeded right through. So I think that's so motivating for the players as well. The fact that there's just more spread of points throughout the year. Every weekly cup you can give 5 or 10 points that can stack up. It's cool. I think it's going to keep the players super engaged, and we've got a super long season ahead, so it's actually going to be awesome.
Cool. All right. Any other thoughts about bracket 4 before we jump into the main group stage? No? All right. Well, let's jump into the main group stage then. Here, I'll link you guys within our chat, and here we go. Okay. Obviously, the main group stage has the players that already got through the qualifiers that are in it, and we don't know who's going to be going where from like what group or anything. So I guess we'll just go ahead and read off these groups and kind of take a look at the players and who's in good shape, who's looking to do well. Okay, so Group A, Dark Parting Stats, obviously awaiting 3 more players. Group B, Raynor Rogue Zest. Group C, a Laser Maru Solar. Group D, Cure Cyril TY. So I guess let's just start at Group A and kind of take a look at these players. Not necessarily like, oh, who's going to get out because we don't know the groups, but the type of shape that you're seeing, the type of finish you think you might see out of these players when considering the strength of the players that will be coming up for the brackets. So again, that's Group A, Dark Parting Stats.
Yeah. I looked at this and there are some groups where I'm like the top 3 or top 3, right? Yeah. But this one, I would say top 2, Dark and Stats, and then Parting is a big question mark as to who else is in the group. So I think he has a chance to get 3rd, even with some of like the big names making it through like we expect. Like say he gets Sue Innovation and I don't know who else.
Ragnarok.
Really good. Sure. Like I think that there's a chance. But yeah, I would give it to like I think other people coming up through the open bracket.
Okay.
As a stat slayer myself, I think that Dark is happy with this group. I think Dark is happy with any group, but I feel like this is actually really hard for Parting. Like I think a group setting with any of the players like that we're talking about, it's just really hard. Group setting is just so much more cutthroat for Parting specifically.
Why
I feel
is
like
that? Why would
I feel
you
like in
say
a single limb or something, like when you're taking out one person in best of 3 and you're moving up and the other people are playing at the same time, and I don't know. It just feels like when you're getting to this point, it's going to be a lot harder for him to get the points necessary to get through. That's just the way
like
I feel about it.
Grinding into top 3 would be harder than
a single limb.
A single limb where there's
you're like luckily you can be placing
against
specific people and like getting through like based off of your matchups and like the build maps you're getting. But I don't know. I just feel like a group is way more. It's less rewarding to someone like that and someone like me. Like,
Okay.
it just feels like I can go through a single limb and get like lucky opponents. Like, oh, this opponent's good for me. This opponent's good for me. Even though they're really strong, like I can still have a good matchup against a certain play style or something. But in a group, especially with Dark in it, right off the bat, and Stats in it right off the bat, those two are pretty fucking good against parting. Like, and then who knows the next three. So I don't know. I just feel like this would be really hard for parting. I also feel like this could be really hard for Stats too, though. Depends on what form Stats is in. Like, Stats can really show up where you can just really have everyone can have Stats' number. I don't know.
Yeah, that happens occasionally.
Yeah, I think Parting, if I remember correctly, he actually 3-0'd Trap in one of the qualifiers that they got him through. So to me, that speaks very highly of his PvP. So I think Parting actually, I think he can definitely beat Stats in PvP.
Twice.
Beat him twice?
Beat Trap twice, yeah.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Yeah, and his PvZ, like the Zergs are starting to look a bit afraid of Parting. I'm very curious to see how Dark tries to fight the cannon rush, because I've seen Dark slap down so many of classic and stats cannon rushes, and they're not as good as Parting's. Like they'll be winning, and he'll make like 20 banelings and blow up their cybercore and get in their main and win. And I'm like, well, that like shouldn't really work at this point of the game. Like, this is a huge gamble from Dark, and like the other guys should have realized that could happen when 40 Zerglings ran past his cannons. Like, I've seen too many games like that. I don't know. Parting, his cannon rushes are incredibly powerful, but he's also just so good with his pushes. He's got all these different, his one immortal Soul Train is very, very powerful at the moment. I think Parting's such a scary PvZ player. For me, the question is if a bunch of Terrans get put in that group, has Parting closed the gap on his PvT? Because I've seen him bring troublesome series to Terran players. He very rarely closes a best of 3 or a best of 5 against the top Terran player. When has that happened in the last couple of years since he's been back in fine form? He's beaten 6 Zergs and Protoss players a lot, but he hasn't managed to win a best of 5 versus a top level Terran. He's always close, but he's not quite there. So that's the big question mark for Parting in my head.
I think that's a pretty decent analysis, actually, of the way that I look at Parting as well. Like, it's funny because a lot of the times you'll see a Protoss player like, yeah, they're really solid against Terran, but with him, he's almost more like a Beyond type player where he's relying on his execution and his micro and stuff, and the Terran players can kind of wiggle out of his grasp a lot. But I feel like Parting is so dangerous in the other two matchups. I actually am a little bit nervous for Stats. I feel like that things can go wrong for him in this type of situation against someone like Parting, because I don't know. I like the way that Parting approaches the game currently. All right, looking at, and obviously Dark is ridiculous. He should get out of there, right? No matter who you put in that group.
Yeah.
Because all the players that I'm like, oh, these people can beat Dark, they're all in these other groups already. So, okay, looking at Group B, Raynor, Rogue, Zest.
Ooh, that's a fun ZVZ between Raynor and Rogue. I am so curious to see how that matchup plays out. Rogue is kind of, he shares similarities with Serral, whilst not being quite the same flavor. He is the best macro Zerg in Korea usually, but Raynor, he's bloody Raynor, right? I'm also just excited about any ZVZs we happen to see, because the meta has been so fascinating after what we saw develop last year, where it's like there's mutas and upgraded Zerglings everywhere. There's roach attacks. There's fast lurkers coming out of players. There's mutas into lurkers. There's mutas into ultras. A bunch of the EU players have been, when they play the muta style, loading up mass Dropalord and unloading Lings in the lurker player's main base and natural and doing Baneling drops and stuff. Like, it's just, there's so much weird stuff in that matchup. So I'm curious to see what a Raynor Rogue matchup looks like. I think Zest against both of them has a huge amount of trouble on his hands. That's a really, really rough matchup for him, I think, going against either of those two.
I hope Zest just found like some memes that nobody's seen coming and just like bops them both with some crazy thing. Like just something we've never seen. I don't know. He's just been developing it in his lab.
Is a Stargate into triple Oracle into +1 blink attack?
I It's that sounds like a statsy thing to do, or a
That's what
zesty thing to do.
That's
Yeah.
what Zest did recently. So
Is that-
Yeah,
is this
sounds
like
like
a-
he's working in his lab already.
Is this like a 3-base blink attack, like off like 55
Yeah.
codes kind of thing?
it's like almost right after the Zergs finally recovered from the triple oracle, which ends up being like 9 oracles.
That's great, you know, like I'm dealing with triple oracle constantly. I'm like, you know what? I got a decent drone count. I got my units, and then 40 million blink stalkers come out of nowhere and kill you. Like,
It was a pretty sick game. But yeah, he was playing some really weird stuff. So he might just be that Zest that you want. That's the thing too, is like I think Zest always has it in him to do well, but either like his overall macro is not like really great, or he has like one specific weakness in a matchup, or he's like really wacky and you're just like, who is this? Like what happened? And neither, like none of those have like necessarily netted him like huge wins recently, but I think combined together, the true might of Zest might show through. Rogue actually had a couple of surprise losses in his qualifiers, which makes me wonder about his stability. And then Raynor, I'm actually, the difference between Raynor and Serral for me, you know, even though they're both like well matched and obviously a big rivalry, is that Serral is dependable. Raynor has a little bit of like a, well, okay, hold on. So I could see him like, you know, I could see him theoretically topping the group, doing amazing, but I could also see him going down 0-3 in like series and be like, oh shit, like I really got to try, and like barely clawing his way back. So I'd still put him in top 3, like him advancing, but yeah, like everyone here has that chance, like the biggest chance to be kind of just like having an off day and barely make it to 2 and 3, and then maybe someone coming from the open bracket gets first actually.
This group has like 2 of my boys. Rogue and Zest are like the guys where I'm always like, oh no, they're just like this. It's those 2 in TY specifically that for me, I'm like, this is how you're supposed to play Zerg, this is how you're supposed to play Protoss, and this is how you're supposed to play Terran. Now that being said, I kind of feel like Raynor is maybe a little edge over both these guys in this case. Like I always feel a little bit nervous about Rogue going to Europe, because he plays closer to the European style, especially in ZVZ, than the Korean Zergs, which I think just means that Raynor has more practice against Rogue's type, whereas what Rogue plays against out here is a more Roach heavy, you know, just the way that the Korean Zergs play a slightly different brand of ZVZ. So it always makes me nervous when he travels that he's not going to perform up to his level. So yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling Raynor doing well in this group.
a man once said he would eat his shoe if Rogue underperformed, and that man never believed in Rogue ever again.
And never ate a shoe either.
No.
Thank God you brought that up after everyone dropped it finally. Thank God.
Yeah, it's okay. If I keep bringing it up, eventually everyone else is going to forget about it. Like,
yeah, they're going to
get it. We get it. You didn't eat the shoe. We get it, man. Why do you want to keep bringing it up? This is my way of approaching it. Okay.
It's brilliant.
Something across against the meta, you know?
Yeah. That's always how you are.
Yeah.
All right. Group C, a Laser, Maru, Solar. You know what's really weird here? I just want to throw out, I almost feel like that looks like weaker than the other groups, but it doesn't even make sense to say that too, because it's like Maru and Solar are both in there, and obviously Laser's good, but
well, we've been disappointed by Maru so often. Like,
yeah,
we've actually not been disappointed by Maru that often, but every time it happens, it really, really hurts.
Yeah,
because of course he doesn't play in like a ton of tournaments, but yeah, any major offline one, of course. So yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I think Maru does well enough to make it out of the group, but then maybe he doesn't, like, he does really poorly around 24 or something.
Yeah, he'll see Serral on somewhere in the bracket, and he'll just make sure he doesn't make it far enough to hit him. That's that's kind of been the last couple of years, it feels like.
Exactly. Solar has been like really good. He used to be, I think, lots of high highs, low lows, but now he's kind of bringing it to like an even with a couple of high highs. So his bracket run to get here was actually very difficult for him, but he did qualify. So he's doing pretty well. On a Laser, I don't want to undersell winning the European qualifier, but there is always a little bit of that, like, well, it's on the European server. You know, how many Koreans are really going to try? Kira actually made it through the European server, to be fair. But
I
yeah,
agree.
that's
Europeans
how
are bad.
Okay.
Indeed.
That's not what I was getting at, but but it is one of those, like, if someone comes from the Korean qualifier, everyone's like, oh shit, like Parting getting through the Korean qualifier, everyone's like, oh, wow, that's really impressive. But
yeah, that was hype.
Yeah, but a Laser making it through is kind of like, okay, Yeah. That makes sense. So I'm not as hyped going into it for him, but I just feel like as a storyline going into it, maybe it's not that powerful, but he himself is probably powerful enough to make it through. But I'm gonna go with Maru. Definitely makes it out top 3 somewhere, and then Solar makes it out too, and a Laser's question mark.
Yeah, Solar
Fair.
actually had a very hard run in his qualifier. I'd say I am probably I'm not an anti-Solar fan. I love Solar, but I've for the last year and a half kind of just being like very when I see Solar in a tournament, my expectations aren't very high for him. He hasn't been as consistent as some of the other players, of course. That being said, he's capable of some good stuff. So I'm very, very undecided on what Solar is going to do in this tournament. And to be honest, I feel the same about Maru. Like Maru is such a question mark to me. He still brings out these fantastic games, but as we've said, hot and cold. Traveling overseas to tournaments, especially a lot more cold than hot. Yeah, and Alaze capable of switching it on. He did beat Special and Scarlet and Denver in the qualifiers, some good matches. But I kind of look at that group and I'm like, if I had to put my money somewhere, I'm going to bet on a different group because I just don't know what they're going to bring to it. I'm like sitting on the fence going Maru, Solar, or Laser, but realistically, I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I feel what you were saying before. I feel a little bit unimpressed with this group, but if all of these players are playing at their peak, it's extremely different, you know? I hope that Maru doesn't just drop out. I love Maru. I love his play. He plays so intelligently and everything's just so well thought out, but then he just bombs out of things because it just feels like he's not playing like he would or he should. So I really, really hope Maru does well. I really hope he turns on his inner Maru and just plays like himself, doesn't just disappoint. But if he does, like he's definitely getting out of this group. There's no doubt, you know. As far as the Laser, I'm gonna sleep on him a bit. I think this is really hard for him, even considering if we get like 3 of the bottom picks out of the other groups. I still feel like this would be a really hard group. Though he can show up, so you know, who knows. And Solar looks really strong. I think Solar definitely gets out of this group. I would almost put Solar ahead of Maru, so we'll see.
Yeah,
I guess.
I have the general feeling right now that Solar is stronger than Maru. Like he's had a very high, like he was 7K a little bit ago on the Korean server, and he hasn't delivered. It is true. Like he doesn't feel like someone who's going to be a champion, but is very good. So I feel like Solar and like maybe Maru, and then someone that comes in from the bracket for sure, I would say.
I'd love to put Neve in this
Ragnarok
group.
gets in this group. I'm like, yeah, Ragnarok's winning this group, you know?
Yeah. I'd like to drop Neve in this group just because it'd be so great to watch him play against Solar and Maru. Like, I think Solar has his number, but Maru and Neve has always just been so amazing, the series that we've watched before. I'd love to see them play again.
All right. Going on to Group D, Cure, Cyril, TY. I'll be right back once you guys start.
Good. It's a good group. I like that group. Cure has to prove that he's not just an online warrior, which has been the case for the last couple of months. Everyone's like, Cure's great, Cure's great, Cure's great. He's actually
To be fair,
offline.
he is great. Like online, he actually is really great. It's just that, as soon as he gets offline, he's like, what? Like,
yeah. Like he's been dominating in the past 4 months, but he's been a good online player for a year plus. And he's not really brought it to the table. I mean, this is the part of the bracket, to be clear, where everyone does have those extra days to chill out and recover from jet lag. So it really does it comes more down to like, are they just like good offline or not? I'm not even going to talk about the potential jet lag here. Cyril, I think, he's just good enough. He's going to make it through. Like, we don't really have to question Cyril at any point. And that's what makes him so good. And then TY definitely gets through. Don't even worry about it. Cyril first, TY second.
You got faith in the commentator?
Dude.
Does he even practice anymore?
Dude.
Yes, he does.
Do you even practice anymore?
True.
TY is still really great. I like it.
Yeah, he's still sick. I think he'll struggle versus Cyril, of course. He won't. But yeah, I mean, Q are obviously taking 2 maps off Serral on like, what do you reckon? 250 ping to European server. Jake, you might have had tried.
Oh,
Yeah,
server
250
from
ping.
Korea. It's like 250. 250. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
past 200. It's pretty painful. 220. I'm like, 250 is
It's basically
so.
unplayable, to be honest.
He's
They
playing
play
Bio
Bio.
TVZ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing, you psychopath?
And all those are sleepers
Where
too. Like, what the
you
fuck
see
is
his
that?
medevacs flying back and forwards, and his like Marines just aren't getting in them. And I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
250 ping
Yeah.
for you, man. Like, and he took 2 maps on Serral. Serral made some mistakes in him for sure, but yeah, I mean, Cure looks really good. So same, exactly what you said. Zombie, is he gonna show up on LAN? I'd love him to. I'd be so happy. Like I said, Zune is gonna bomb out. Zune or Zune?
Are you
by
gonna
the way?
try and pronounce it like Maddox said to pronounce it? If they don't write it in
Zhao?
Hangul from the get-go, they're dead to me. It's however we would pronounce it in English.
I just
True. True
I just
that. If they
butcher
write it in
everyone's
Korean,
name.
then I'll pronounce it correctly. But if they're gonna write it in English, I'm pronouncing it in
Dude.
English. Okay.
Yeah, no, there was a player, capital Vines, and he tried to tell us to pronounce his name Finesse. And I'm like, no, it says Vines. Okay,
Oh, really?
I know how to read
It
this
wasn't
language. It says
Vines?
Vines.
I
And
always
he was
thought
like,
it
no, it's
Vines.
Finesse. It's like, no, it's not Finesse. It
I
truly is not
actually,
finesse.
so you know how Korean have the certain words that letters they pronounce as different letters, like
Mhm.
phomos is pomos, right?
Oh,
I
sure,
was
because they
once-
don't actually have. Yeah.
I was years ago talking to, I think it was King Kong, and he was like, "Oh, do you know this player?" So now imagine if you replace that F sound in finesse with a P sound.
Finesse.
And we had a
Nice.
very interesting back and forth where I was like, "Who are you talking about?" And he's like, "The pro player." I was like, "What? What
That's
are we talking
amazing.
about right now?" And he's like, "OGS penis." And I'm like, "What?" Figure out what we were talking about. I was like, "Oh, you mean Vines? That guy?" it was a very confusing interaction. Oh, man.
But yeah, I think we just call him Sound.
I'm calling him down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's down.
He's sorry, dude. Yeah. I really think that TY and Serral are secure, and Cure can definitely make that third one or even second, but I don't think he gets first. And because he's also like his original shtick was that he was a TVT sniper. Like that was his original thing that everyone knew him as. So I think he could beat TY, but I think I said the exact same thing last IEM, to be honest, and then he didn't, or a GSL or something. But
as soon as anyone tells me that someone can beat TY, I'm like, who are we talking about right now?
Actually, that's
This
what
is
it was.
the smartest player in the whole world.
I was like watching the Pylon show, and I was like, I don't know, and then TY won. But like he could, but I think he gets second or third at max. But then also maybe doesn't do so hot. His performances have been getting better. He's no longer just like a no name who plays in the Lima League or almost no name, but it's already a pretty stacked 2 other players in your group, and who's gonna come up top, bottom 3 rather? Like I don't know.
Yeah, Group D, like it looks Group of Deathy to me in a lot of ways. Like I guess we'll see who else comes up, but I agree basically completely with what you were saying there about Cure, where if you just filled in 3 random players here, I'd be like, yes, that's the top 3 right there. But when you have players like Ragnarok, Soon, Innovation coming out of the offline brackets, I don't know if Cure is going to get out of there. But Serral and TY, I would be shocked if either of those guys didn't make it because they are just ridiculous players.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Cure really shows up, he's a totally different animal than what we've seen. Like we could see him go the very last place, or we could see him come second. Like he could definitely take games out of TY if he's playing proper. He could take Serral if he's playing really sick. Like, yeah, I think that's a proper massive question mark. I really hope he overcomes it and just plays the way he plays online, because he's been looking so strong and he's been so strong for so long. He deserves it. So I hope that happens. Serral's definitely getting out of this group. Though I don't know if I want to say shoe eating, because then he might not get out of the group. I don't know how that works. TY definitely should get out of this group as well. This definitely feels like the group of death, though. I echo that. I think even if we put like the 3 worst players in it, this is like a scary group. I mean, 3 worst players of the qualified players, which have to be really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So overall for the tournament, kind of keep in mind that players coming out of the offline bracket, because obviously one of those guys could end up winning. But who are you kind of looking at as I love doing the who's like your top 1, 2, 3, whatever you really want to kind of mention, and who is the underperformer? That's always what I'm most interested in. Who do you think is going to bomb compared to expectations?
Okay, well, Dark's gonna win the tournament, so
Dark's gonna straight win, you think?
Yeah, I think so. We'll give him that. I'll give him it. You know what? Sure.
Your predictions are terrible.
I hope. Listen here, Mister. You're not allowed to comment on my predictions, okay? Anyone else? You know, if anything, I'm in line with you. So
yeah.
Okay, so Dark, I feel really strongly about. I think he, you know, he showed some sick skills, and he's been really good for a really long time. I think it'd be really hard to throw him off of at least a final or like a top 4. If he doesn't get top 4, I'll be surprised. I think. Rayner's super scary. I hope he's kept his momentum. I really don't know where he is fully. Like, this is like a proper year of like solidifying Rayner as one of the best players of all time. You know, like if he just keeps going, keeps the momentum coming, because it's kind of scary. We know Cyril is just like solid, and we've seen him for so long, but Rayner had his peak, and it's scary because some people hit their peak and get lazy and just fall off, or just start to decline for the next 2 years, and they never hit their peak again. And I hope that doesn't happen with Rayner. I don't think it will. I really don't, but it's totally possible, you know. Maru, if he shows up, he could just do so well. Like, he could just go so far. Those are my top 3. I really hope to see them show up and do well. Yeah.
Okay.
And who's gonna bomb out?
Yeah, compared to expectations, like who's gonna really underperform this tournament?
Let me think. Well, if they're in the group already, is that like kind of already a pretty good result? I feel like Parting's not getting out of his group, but I don't know if that's not like that's bombing out of expectation. What would you say? What's your opinion on that?
Me? I would say
you're the judge here.
Well, for me, yeah, I'm the judge. I'm like, your opinion's wrong and yours is right. Well, for me, the person who's going to bomb compared to expectations is Maru. I think but maybe
that's totally fine.
Becoming our expectation is that he does well in Korea, and then everywhere else he's kind of like top 8, maybe. You know, it's like, oh, we hope he gets out of this group and it thus makes top 12 of the tournament, but who knows?
I feel like this prediction has just solidified my prediction a bit more. Like, I just got bumped up a little bit, you know? Just like as my shoe eating immediately just disqualifies you from ever competing or doing well. Your prediction against Maru is in favor of my prediction for Maru, I feel. So we'll have to see which one of us has the true curse.
I'm comfortable with what I said.
I actually agree with you, though. Like, I think that's the thing with Maru. He either does really sick or he just does very poorly. Very rarely do I just see like, oh yeah, he's playing averagely and just gets, you know, close series and loses. It's just not the way he goes.
Yeah.
I think, you know, you think Parting's going to drop out in the group stage. I think Parting's going to go through and get top 8, maybe top 4. So I believe in Parting overperforming by expert standards. And of course, if he doesn't win, he's underperforming by any of his stream viewers' standards. But, not sure how much we'll listen to them. They're like, man, I wish he would just give the finger to his opponents on the stage like he does on stream. Like, sorry guys. But yeah, I think Parting's going to do pretty well. One little thing that I'm playing around in my head is, I kind of feel like with like the Broodlord not being the problem that it was last year, obviously with like in TVZ, that maybe TY is just back in some super late game comfort zone. You know, TY is the guy who's like, oh, I play mech and I start building ghosts at 130 supply. Like, and you're like, what? Why are you building ghosts? Like, and he's like, I got to get ready for the mass ghost. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, he's you know, so late game oriented. He trailblazed. 2017 was his year, wasn't it? That's a long time ago now, but he trailblazed macro legacy, you know, the macro play and Legacy of the Void for Terran. You know, more command centers, more bases, more harassment, more workers. You know, so many of his games on Abyssal Reef where he'd just chip away at his opponent and over time grind them down to dust. You know, maybe the maps are a bit too wide open and spread for that stuff to work as well anymore. But we'll see. I kind of feel like, you know, you got the Thor as a better tool there. Things like Liberators and Ghosts still looking useful. Maybe TY brings out some of that old late game magic, and I'd love to see that because I want to see a very alternate Terran path to victory, to the you know, the Maru style of being really in your opponent's face. So that's like a personal want in terms of who's going to drop out and maybe not perform as well. I know Rogue's insanely good, but part of me has a feeling that like he'll have some series where he looks godlike, and then he might just kind of fall over in a few other series because that sometimes happens with Rogue. So that's kind of the one where I'm like, ooh, I might actually bet that he's just gonna, yeah, maybe even not make it out of the group stage. And even saying it sounds wrong because it's Rogue, but I'm like, I don't know. I sense something there. So we'll see how it goes.
So I think Cyril wins. TY gets as close to second as possible, depending on how the bracket runs, because in the same group. And then for the person who underperforms, I'm gonna say apparently you guys SOS. I think you actually even make it out of the bracket. And then and then I'm with Rogue. I think Rogue underperforms as well.
Okay, I think the Rogue underperform is a reasonable one. Him, and maybe I'd give him second tomorrow on the underperforming side of things. But yeah, I feel like Cyril and TY are both going to do really good. I also think Ragnarok is going to do really good and get very deep, like minimum top 8. Like I think he's really in great shape, and looking forward to seeing his play. And as far as SOS goes, like I could see anything happening with him. Like I could see him getting second place in this tournament. Like he'll hit someone that'll kill him, but unless like Protoss is like blaze his path, I can't, like him versus Cyril. I'm like, nah, SOS, that ain't happening. you're not gonna pull that one out. But maybe against a Protoss or a Terran. But yeah, that's a harder one to find. But yeah, TY is, I think, just he's in good shape right now. It's probably good for him that there's been a big delay, because then he's not busy casting GSL all the time or anything, so he can just kind of practice. So I think he's going to be in really, really good shape. All the games that I've been watching of him lately, he looks very good in. Feeling him. And of course, Cyril's just like the best player, so that makes sense.
I think, you know, beyond predictions, one thing I want to say is obviously I'm so excited to watch this tournament. Very lucky to be casting it. But I think what I'm always so excited about with this tournament specifically is that it's like 3 tournaments in one. There are, you know, it's such a long tournament. We have like 6 or 7 broadcast days. And it's like there's different stages. There's that offline qualifier stage. I mean, we've already had crazy series of online qualifiers, but then we've got the offline qualifier, which is just 2 action-packed crazy days. And we're going to see stories emerge there of like, oh, damn, you know, Harstam's just took out stats or something. You know, every year there's so many good games. There's always upsets. There's always like someone who you don't expect just starts dominating. And then it's like the whole tournament almost resets for the group stage, and they join these other 12 crazily good players that are waiting for them. And then, you know, obviously when we move into the arena on the final day, get the top 4 played out. It's a real magical event, because there's space in that for us to, you know, there can be a player who doesn't even make it to the group stage who like gets a real bunch of sick games wedged in our memory because they're just that good and that action packed. So yeah, it's going to be a week of nonstop StarCraft every day. There's a lot of like 12-hour broadcast days in there. So whatever time zone you're watching in, you're going to be able to catch some of it live.
Yeah, and actually, just to kind of echo that, like that's always been part of my favorite thing about Katowice, like the offline open brackets. We've had insane stories in there, like Soul, when he was tearing through it one time, and then I remember like Guru like started chomping through nerds and made it to like the loser bracket finals of his, and like these were very memorable things that were going, like Soul beat Stats, didn't he, with like proxy barracks and stuff?
Oh, yeah, the bunker wall off or something.
Yeah. There's, and it's very true. These are games that I really remember from Katowice more so than a lot of the group stage games. And then, it's like a 3-part tournament where it's got those brackets, and then it's got the group stage where like I remember all these games from group stage that didn't end up meaning anything. Like Like, how many times have I seen you thermal beat innovation at Katowice? You know, so many times. Like, it always, how does it happen? I don't get it, but it does. and then like he doesn't make it out of the group. So it's like, oh, okay, now we're in this other tournament, you know, and that's just the bracket at the end. So a great tournament everyone should be tuning into. Any other thoughts on the tournament before Patreon questions get entered into from you guys?
I think, as always, you have to do the thing where it's like it's the non-Koreans' time to shine, and then they get bopped by the Koreans. But I'll be that person. It's time for the non-Koreans to shine, you guys. It's been happening for the last 2 years. You're gonna get there. And I think Clem will do very well this tournament as well.
Nice.
I actually felt like last year was like proper bad time, and then the Koreans just completely destroyed everybody. I was like, you know what? Maybe it's not time.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that we get more foreigners. I was actually quite disappointed because I was so excited. I'm like, all these foreigners doing so well. We're hyping it, and then all of a sudden the Koreans, there's like 2 foreigners or something. I'm like, wow, that's quite unfortunate. But I think this year we'll definitely have a lot more foreigners than last. I'm hoping. I'm really excited for the tournament. I'm just so excited to actually get some StarCraft going.
You know,
for this year.
You say we're gonna have more foreigners than last, but I'm looking at our predictions so far, and I'm looking at these groups so far, and it does not look like there's going to be more than your standard Raynor Serral in that top part. Maybe, I hope so. I want it. Give me some Hero Marine up there. Give me some Showtime. Yeah, give me some Neeb. Absolutely. But yeah, okay. Great thoughts, you guys. Thank you again, everyone. Make sure you check out IEM Katowice. It is coming. Let's go to the Patreon questions. Of course, you still have time to submit a question to these wonderful guests. Check out patreon.com/ThePylonShow.
Sentient vegetables. Let's go.
Yes. Oh, please. Well, Roddy's on the show, so it won't be too bad. Okay, here we go. VDeck asks, hey, Artosis, have you thought about hosting a Pylon Show sponsored StarCraft 1/2 tournament series? We've done some show match stuff in the past that Jeff was kind of championing. In my opinion, it doesn't fit in all that well. So I haven't really thought about it too much. Like I know that we did some of that before and people did like it, but I don't know. I'll keep it in mind. Thank you for the question. Nahyun asks, if you could transform all of your StarCraft knowledge and skill into another hobby, playing an instrument, acting, writing, any kind of job or another game, what would you like to be really good in, and how would it look like?
Art.
Yeah.
I was trying to be good at art. I graduated in art, and I did StarCraft. So, comic book art.
I feel like I would want to have some mad technical skills as someone who is technically useless. Like, it would just be so sick to have mad like mechanical engineering skills or something, and just be able to like also like fix and build little robots or something, or just even basic shit like, oh man, if I could just figure out the wiring and fixing like a recharging cable or something. To me, that's wizardry. It would be incredible to be able to do that.
Okay. What are you, Jake?
I feel like I would love to do like be able to just do sick like trading and finance stuff and just be like rich as hell, just being like really sick at it. But yeah, we'll go with that. I'll be Warren Buffett Jr. That's what it is. Yep.
Well, I don't want to be, show off here, but your guys' dreams and aspirations are stupid. I would transfer everything into being a ninja. As a child, I really wanted to be a ninja, and I thought that would be really cool. And if I could just like trade it right now and just be like a fucking sick ninja, like you don't know I'm in the room and shit, and I can kill you with anything, that would be sick.
You're just gonna win a bunch of ninja warrior tournaments?
I could do that, but I would be like a real ninja where like I'm standing in the shadows and
you would need to biologically change knowing you though. You know?
You just
like,
stand.
Can you biologically change? Because you wouldn't be a very good ninja in your current biological form, you know?
What are you saying?
Who are you telling me I wouldn't be a good ninja in my
trying to
current
say?
biological form?
Yeah, what do ninjas have that
Your
Artosis
stomach makes
doesn't?
like noises and just immediately gives you away as a ninja. Like all you hear is like a growling and you're like,
My stomach does growl a lot. I don't know what that's all about.
Guess we know the ninjas here. It's so loud. Their microphone literally picks it up sometimes. So I know chat knows what I'm talking about.
I would carry Pepto-Bismol with me, but I throw it out of its pink container into a black container so you can't see it.
Absolute
Anyways,
worst ninja ever.
Oh, that's terrible.
Guess he just immediately kill me, but still.
Yeah.
Give you away.
Oh, I hear him. It's like, yeah, I'm somewhere in the house. All right. Nayan, thank you for the question. Lightning Lynn asks, I was wondering if anyone ever played StarCraft on shrooms and learned more than humanly possible in a single game from that. Just me?
Drugs are bad.
I have never done that. No, I've absolutely never done that.
I just wonder what that experience would be like, because like, like I've seen people walking around licking trees and stuff, and like I just like, what are you even clicking the mouse? Are you imagining what's going on? Like I don't know. There's like a point where you're hallucinating, where surely you're not really. Are you playing StarCraft? I don't know. Maybe you come up with some new crazy build orders. I would love to observe that. Can we get a government study where I just like sit behind the glass mirror watching someone eat shrooms and play games? That'd be amazing.
What if they just got really good from that? I don't know. I would be
What
down
if we
to observe someone
get
else
them to
doing
play
that.
against each other on shrooms. We might just be able to discover like new insane metas that nobody's ever thought about.
Or maybe it's just like Cyril gets stuck in platinum. I don't know. Like
that
could be the difference. All right, thank you for the question,
guys. That's where the
build. All right, thank you, Lightning Lynn. We have not tried it. Paragleber asks, Hearthstone esports moved from Twitch to YouTube and lost a lot of viewers because many Hearthstone fans refuse to watch if it's not on Twitch. How important is it for StarCraft tournaments to be on Twitch and not YouTube/Afrika? Do you understand the viewers? Or do you understand the viewers or think they should be more open to other platforms?
You understand the viewers not transferring over.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. So I'm reading this over and over. Okay, so yeah, I heard that they lost like 80% viewership or something going on the Hearthstone from Twitch to YouTube.
Pretty crazy.
The initial news, though, was there was no advertising of it. They literally announced it the day they went live, right? So I'd love if anyone knows if that's actually maintained. Is it still 20%? I imagine it would be about 20% if they're lucky.
Yeah, I think that's somewhat accurate, at least, because I know, for instance, when we had ASL on Twitch, we were getting more views for sure, and then it went to Afrika YouTube only, and we get like maybe 2,500 views total or something live, at least the last couple episodes. I'm not sure. I don't really keep super track of it. I know that Twitch is what most everyone uses for the English speaking scene. Like all of us use Twitch a lot and everything, but I think people should be open to more platforms. I think it's like an important thing for there to be competition within the streaming space. I think that can only be good for everybody. And also, obviously, if you really like the game, you should just watch it wherever it is. Like, I don't have any problem watching somewhere else as long as the link is easily available. I'll watch it. If Katowice is on YouTube, it's not like I'm gonna not watch it.
Yeah, I think it's more of an advertising thing. If it's well known, like I would never know if we just switched Katowice over to YouTube and like no one ever said anything. Obviously I would find it eventually, but it's just like, if you're not an avid person, like it's kind of weird to just have it obscurely switched if it's not really well advertised. I think a switch has to be hugely, like really well known. Like everybody has to know it,
I mean,
it should be on your platform. If you load up the game, it should tell you, hey, it's on YouTube now. Like, you know what I mean? Before you place your card, it's like, do you know that it's on YouTube? Like, just it should be so well known.
It's funny,
and I think viewers should really be willing to switch over and support the game on any platform. Really, like multi-platform stuff is just so important. Like the fact that our monopoly is almost on our viewership is quite a bad thing, I think, in the long run. Like just having more competition is always better. It's just going to improve both sides of like each website, and just like it increases demand on like tournaments. I don't know. It's just good to have multiple options instead of just Twitch
do
always.
you guys actually think there's a lot of people who are like, I refuse to go over there?
I
Because I
don't.
feel like it's mostly just people who are like, I didn't see it because I just look at this one on my app on the phone.
I think there's some people that do.
think there's a few, but it's like a very small minority, right?
Well,
Probably just they're vocal or something.
yeah. I think
I think a lot of people
there's
just go ahead. I'll go next.
I think there's something to the entire migration from any community to anything else. Like this, it feels very much so like when people are trying to get off Skype, except Skype isn't like Twitch isn't an absolutely fucking terrible and invasive program, right? So like you just the point is though is that the community is there, you know, like if I go into a Twitch chat, I know that there's like these X amount of mods, for instance, which I may or may not trust, but point is there's gonna be other people that I know are in that chat. And chat can be a very important experience for people. Even the 40,000 chat where it's all just spam can be an important experience. So I actually understand where some people are coming from when they're like, I don't want to, you know, I will, but then I could see it being a reason that they continue to not watch because their community isn't over there in any way, shape, or form. So I think it's very important that StarCraft stay on Twitch, and every sport that's already cemented on something has to have like a gradual transfer to really have hopes. Now, Hearthstone did terrible also because of the lack of advertising, but Overwatch really is kind of a question mark as well, especially with the way they do it. But I won't quite get into that unless prompted. Um, so I kind of understand where the viewers are coming from, but certainly as far as bringing the casuals, you don't really. But the greatest thing about YouTube is that the discoverability is actually better. So the casual you lose might be gained through YouTube's algorithm. It's a big question mark. But I do understand the viewers, and I never want StarCraft to move off of Twitch.
All right, thank you for the good question there. All right, Sate Zero asks from Twitter. Quotes a tweet where I said, Stork return, the second greatest person of all time. Beast was first, obviously. So please address all of those dorks who hype on Jongbi, the greatest that just never came to be. Address them and their dork opinion. Dork ass opinion. Thanks, lover, heart. All right. Presuming a lot here. Jongbi is the third greatest Protoss of the Six Dragons era. But literally no one with a brain thinks that he was better than Bisu and Stork. And then people will point out that he won the last Star League. Yes, I know, that's great. But yeah, he's a very strong player. There's no question. He was very, very, very good. And the third best dragon. Thank you for the question, Say Zero. Pulse Reaction asks, the StarCraft scene is very male-dominated, and I think the scene would improve a lot if we had more diversity. What steps could be taken to stimulate more women to compete? I'd love to see more women only championships and be able to contribute to that prize pool. A woman-only championships and be able to contribute to that prize pool. Thoughts?
I really wonder if you presume to ask that on an entire panel of men. You know, I always wonder if that's what like they expect when they go in here, or they even think about it. Because I
was
wasn't
posted
announced as
today at
guest.
4:34 a.m. my time, so I had announced already that you'll be on the show. So
Cool.
I possibly not.
Cool. It's just always something I think of since this happened like a year or 2 years ago or something, and it was like all guys, and In Control was like, great question to ask all 5 of us men, and I was like, but yeah, I guess I'll start. The
Yeah,
just there's like so many things that go into whether or not something is you know dominated by one gender or another, you know. It's other fields, but the scene would improve a lot. Like diversity is just never bad. Basically, forced diversity, you could certainly have an argument over that, but diversity is never bad. Steps that can be taken is just basically being more accepting, and having more women in prominent roles has just proven to be effective. It's just a thing. I saw women in roles. I saw them, whether it stirred my jealousy and made me want to be a better player, or made me think that it would opened up opportunities. Both are fair. As well as making tournaments where they feel like they can actually go in a Twitch chat and not just be bombarded by girl, which I did. I just didn't have a strong enough desire to continue it. So it lasted a year, and then it's it's not been brought back again. But I know that some other women are looking to bring it back. So supporting those tournaments, or actually providing a nice atmosphere whenever you see someone even make a really off-color joke, be like, hey, that's not cool, because there's almost always a woman who is looking at the chat and goes, oh, guess I'm never going to say anything. Those are good ways to help.
Okay. Any other
Yeah,
thoughts, you guys?
I agree with everything. I've thought a lot about diversity and how to really push it, but it's quite hard to do. Like, there's not enough. There aren't enough women here to like really push it. I think if we had like say 10% women and 90% men, then we could maybe like really push a lot of like grassroots stuff for women and like a proper community to like foster talent and just like but with the amount of we actually have, it's even less. It's just like so few. It's like we have like 10, like so like tournaments, it's all the same women and stuff, and it's really hard to like push people. I really wish we had someone in the scene that was able to like really inspire people. And I think we're starting to get more women that do inspire StarCraft players, but at the very beginning we didn't have anything like that for a very long time, I feel. Like it would be sick if we had just like really sick StarCraft female players, because then it really inspires more women to come in and feel like they can do it as well. But without that, it's just so hard to take that step and like plunge in. And also, I really just don't think StarCraft is within the interests of women as much as it can be, from the very beginning. It's just, I don't know. These are some of the opinions I've had. I don't know if they're true or not. It's just stuff that I've thought a lot about. I mean, society-wise, it's just not something that women are pushed towards and are interested in general, though I'd love it to be the case. And I'd love to have women role models so that women were more interested in it, but we just don't have very many. Though I do think, Jess, you're actually one of them, so it's nice to see. I actually, Livy B is great too for like pushing women into it. I just wish we had more. We only have a couple.
There's been quite a few streamers and stuff lately, but anyway, back on Banshee. So the Banshee tournament, has there been any word of the people who said they were going to restart that, or like, is there a way to put something out to link people to that, or?
No, basically Ragnarok kept messaging me asking if there was any money left over, and I was like, nope, I gave it all for the last tournament. So
okay,
it might keep the same name, I assume. I named it that just because it would raise awareness of a group for women to join. Even though it was my tournament. And it worked out pretty well, but I think it has kind of like died off since then. Just letting people know that it exists has been very effective. And then providing competition has been effective as well. And we did see we saw a decent amount of people come in and say like, I heard about this seems really awesome, now I really want to play.
You gave out a lot of money. That was a lot of tournaments. 27 cups you run. Awesome.
Yeah. People were very generous. If I hadn't stopped taking, so I basically for the last like 6 cups, I just put all the money that I had like into the prize as opposed to capping it. If I hadn't capped it and I'd also asked for more money, I guarantee there would have been more money. So if it ever does get started again, then I'll definitely tweet about it and stuff. But it is one of the more effective ways. Yeah.
I want to add like a different thing here, just to talk about the what's going on in Korea right now with StarCraft 1. We have right now in StarCraft 1 some women's tournaments that are going on, and a lot more participation in tournaments, in all tournaments by women currently. Like I've definitely noticed in the past year. I mean, I've always gone to a lot of the Brood War tournaments out here, but now like we have the ladies ASL, and then we also have Ladies Night KCM, which is kind of like the really popular online league where it's like round robin, like 3 Terrans against 3 Protosses against 3 Zergs, kind of round robin King of the Hill format, which we've had for a long time. And then they've started up the ladies one, and both of those seem to be pretty popular. Also, the whole pro scene out here is based off of streaming. That's like where all the pros make their money, and then playing professionally is like what helps them to get more viewers, and then for a few people helps them to win some more money, right? So it's kind of like a different structure than the StarCraft 2 pro scene in general. But definitely I've seen a lot more women entering various tournaments, whether it's the amateur tournaments or even the like ASL qualifiers and stuff. Yeah, just a lot more have been coming down, which is cool. But I don't know if that helps any, but maybe, I don't know. All right, thank you for the question, Pulse Reaction. Hopefully things will improve in that regard. All right, Foot asks, what are some of the strangest before tournament or pre-match routines you have seen from either players or casters? I knew a pro gamer that used to slap his face a whole bunch before he played.
Sorry, I missed the
see a
question.
lot of people that
Good
stretch and
habits
stuff, like
people have?
yeah, like something you do pre-match
Yeah.
routines or whatever. Like, remember Zest at Home Story Cup was doing push-ups before he started?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people do like jump around a little and stuff.
I just think
Stefano,
all
a few
those things
players,
are
like,
legit, though. You
some
know?
people always got to take the shoes off. Yeah.
Yeah, shoes off.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
true.
those are all like legit things. Those aren't strange.
I don't
I actually think like
any-
slapping your face to, like, you know, wake you up and make you feel like, you know, stimulated is not a weird thing. Or like taking off your shoes to be comfortable, or doing jumping jacks, or whatever it is to like pump your blood and like get you ready. Like all those things are really not strange. I'm thinking like strange is like I only eat ramen before my match, or like I need this room to be 23.6 degrees. Even that wouldn't even be that weird if you're like, that's what I'm used to.
That's what Todd
I don't
used to
know.
do.
But like there's a
Flash ruler.
interesting thing. Yeah, that even
Flash
that's not
ruler's
weird.
Probably. I think it's a little weird.
It's not weird. You're like, I want my keyboard in the position where I practice all the time. It's totally not
everyone
weird.
wants that, absolutely. Although Dana would suggest that you train without having your keyboard in the exact place every single time. But it's weird that he would have a ruler every single time to go ahead and measure that.
Makes sense.
I think that's
I'm
sick.
Totally
Yeah.
down with the ruler. I love
It
it.
could be
totally
sick,
down.
but it's unique. No, it's different. It's weird.
It is definitely.
It's not strange
is.
though, is it?
It's strange
it
just
is.
by its uniqueness, right?
It's unique.
It makes
Yeah, that is
sense, I guess, but it's strange. He's the only person who does it, I'm pretty sure. Right?
Yeah, if it made
That's why
so
it's
much
the Flash
sense,
ruler.
everyone would do it.
Yeah.
What about
That's
do you guys
true.
remember, was it Choya who would talk to himself through like the entire game?
Oh, really cheesy guy on Slayers, Arthur.
Oh,
used to do that.
Arthur.
King of the prison sentry drop on top of the ramp. Oh, I love playing that guy.
Oh
Woo,
my
fun
god. There's
day.
actually no one I hated
Oh, it's
playing
so
more than
good too
Arthur.
because he's like, I'm sorry, his posture was absolutely terrible. It made him look so weird. But he would be like this on like the computer, and he'd just be like talking to himself. It's like a mass word raised proxy. And you're like, no,
Like you're such a cheeser. Oh my god.
so good.
Oh.
I don't think any commentators have any setup. So
Yeah, I can't think of anything really. Okay, well, thank you, Foot, for the question. Optional Player asks, watching ASL featuring the E-Caster Duo Tastosis, Intercoven, Stork, a Scout, wow. Yes, Scouts are expensive. While, yeah, StarCraft 1 doesn't need any Patrick. Rhetorically speaking, would a cost rework of the Scout be beneficial? How meta-changing would it be if it costs, say, 175, 150? Well, new builds would have to emerge to utilize the Scout because there's nothing there right now. But yeah, that's theoretically that could be a very strong unit at that point. It's just, it costs, I believe it's 275, 150 right now. So to reduce it by that much minerals is pretty significant. And again, the Scout actually controls very well. It's just too expensive. So vastly reducing the cost would probably change the game quite a bit.
You
But
need
no
to get
patches.
like an upgrade to make that do more damage to air as well, right?
No, you get,
No.
there's a speed upgrade, like a movement speed upgrade, and then there's a vision upgrade, which is just hilarious.
Really?
Yeah,
It's a
because it's called the
scout.
Scout.
Makes sense. Excuse me.
I don't know why you would ever get that, but the speed upgrade's quite good. It makes it really, really fast. No one knows any of that though, because it's like we had, I think it's ASL season 9. I'm pretty sure that was the first Scout we've had in 9 seasons of ASL. Stork made one the other night on a really weird map. All right. They killed a dropship though. It did good. Thanks for the question, Optional Player. Alessander asks, Jake et al. How are the foreigners looking for GSL/GSL Super Tournament? All. Thoughts on Warcraft 3 Reforged launch and future? I expect WC3R to reboot interest in strategy genre, which would have helped StarCraft, but their first ESL DreamHack tournament begins in 2 days and things look grim.
I guess I'll answer first. So I don't have that much information. I mean, we've had a handful of foreigners staying here pretty full time, and I think all of them look pretty good. No one's exceptional. It's not like we have one just like shooting up like a shining star and is about to just bop everybody. but definitely qualified, like possibly qualifying players, like sort of in Australia for sure. I think Australia has a really good shot at qualifying for GSL. Obviously, Super Tournament, we know foreigners didn't do very well, even special. Like,
well, they did well though. I mean, they made
they
it
didn't
far.
qualify
They took,
though. Yeah,
they did. A lot of people were in the final match though.
Yeah, although I expect at least one foreigner to get in, I would hope. But yeah, I think Super or GSL Code S will definitely have a sprinkle of foreigners still, and I hope they do well. But we'll see. We have to see.
Yeah. And everyone else, what about the Warcraft 3 Reforged? What do you think about this whole debacle and the fact in 2 days is their first tournament at DreamHack? It'll be cast by our friend Todd and the Back to Warcraft guys and someone else. I forget who the fourth one was. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pig. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go first.
Well, I was mostly going to comment on, do you guys know that Todd, I guess, isn't casting the first days of Katowice? If he's going to be casting Anaheim? Because it's a 3-day event.
I just found that out from Roddy's stream, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Right?
Yeah,
like, he'll probably
I was
miss
watching Kev
the
this
first
morning.
day.
Yeah. Both the whole open bracket, right? The 2 days, yeah.
Oh, Trixler's casting.
That's what I'm not sure. I have no idea what his schedule looks like, but I was very surprised.
Well, he'll probably miss the rehearsal day, right? And Todd never does anything.
No, he'll miss. Because it goes till Sunday. I thought it started Friday to Sunday, like a regular DreamHack. So he'll guaranteed miss Monday.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. That sounds right.
I'm excited because Hitman is going to be playing. That's right, our favorite Protoss cheese master of the NA ladder. Apparently he's an orc player. I just want to see how he plays Warcraft 3 and how it compares to StarCraft style. But obviously the StarCraft 2 fans, we've got Thorzane in there and
cool.
Happy as well. And Moon's playing as well, of course. So, I mean, that's super exciting for the Warcraft fans. Don't let your love of the game go anywhere just because the Reforged launch was a bit of a poop shoot. Hopefully it's a sick tournament. I'm really excited. I'm definitely going to be watching some.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely check out some. It's too bad with the whole launch and everything, but it's still like a really high quality game. Like if you like StarCraft, you'll probably like it somewhat. I don't think it's as good, but it's still a great game. So I'm excited to check it out, especially with some of those names, like a lot of old legends there. And like Happy just won like the world championship and stuff, which is sick. And after, selling all his buildings and losing for years and years and years in that game. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it does well.
Yeah. I mean, I like Warcraft as a game and as an esport, but they not only screwed the pooch on like the release, I think they also did fuck up a potential celebration of RTS again. Just because Warcraft 3 hit a lot of our generation's, I guess, sweet spot. And World of Warcraft obviously exists. It could have been something, I think, really big. And it was just clear that they stopped caring about it about 7 months ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's sad, like I want to glimpse past that because it hurts me. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Don't tell me grow up. It hurts me. Like, every time I see someone not respect the awesome beauty of the best RTSs in the game, it just makes me a bit upset because I'm like, what are you doing? It's like when you watch someone, it was a friend, and then they're shooting cocaine every night, and they're running around stealing things and crashing cars, and you're like, oh, what are you doing? Don't do that. You have so much to live for. And that's Warcraft 3. Like, it's such a great game.
But he also graduated from Harvard like 20 years ago.
Yes,
so,
exactly. Like, he was the golden child, and now he's I don't know. It's just a bit sad because it's such a missed opportunity. Like you said, a celebration there. Obviously they wanted to hit the deadline, and I think I hope they fix things and don't do what I expect, which is to hope there's just everyone don't talk about it, and we'll very slowly fix one or two things, and hopefully everyone forgets, which is just upsetting. So hopefully there's a bit more effort and turnaround there. We've talked about it before. The amount of name brand recognition and PR value that you lose might not be immediately tangible as a dollar figure, but I tell you, it's going to hit you right in the money down the line. It's going to hit you really, really hard. And it's unfortunate when an organization doesn't have the organization or the leadership.
Well, it's sad because that was something where Blizzard was leading too, was like brand recognition and like just releasing good stuff, and then like that was the whole vision, wasn't it? Like to make Blizzard this massive brand of good games, and like not
Yeah.
rushing and not like releasing half
releasing
done stuff
games.
and whatever. I mean, I'm talking about like in the past, like
Yeah.
way in the
Oh,
past.
yeah.
That
wouldn't release a
was
game if it wasn't
Blizzard
good.
for a long time. It seems the thing is, I think that there are still a lot of people that are that at Blizzard. It's just there's definitely been some choices like this that are like, what? Come on. I'm sure you're laughing at me from your yacht, but like, this can't have been the right choice. It can't have been. Oh man. All right. Well, thank you for the question. I honestly hope it does well. Let's not forget that this tournament is run by ESL, not by anyone else, and they're trying to help revive that pro scene. And there's players from all over the world that are going to be there. Todd's going to be there, Cass. It's got to be good times, and I hope it goes well for him. Those are some very strong RTS players over Warcraft 3. All right. Thank you for that question. Saft Scissors asks, how did you all get your gamer aliases?
I feel like we've answered this question like multiple times. At least I have.
Okay. How'd you get yours?
I'll lead with a long one. I like bacon. On to the next.
Nice.
All right. Excellent.
Nailed it.
That's where you get bacon from. The pig. What about you, Nograt? Where'd you get your name?
Well, I was pretty young when I made my original name, which was just Overmind, because of the campaign in StarCraft 1. I named myself that. That was when I was like probably, I don't know, 10 maybe. And then I played StarCraft 2 and I was getting older. I was getting more competitive. I'm like, this is not a very good pro gamer name. It's just not. So I thought Regret sounded really cool. Sounded like a good Korean name, it was just cool. But there was already a Regret, and he was around my level, and I didn't want to just be like the same as him. So I hoped I would. Yeah, I became the opposite. I'd hope I'd outlast him, and then eventually I planned to shift back to Regret when he quit, but he never quit. It was like many, many years of him playing. And then by the time he did quit, I was already really well known as No Regret. So it's like, now I can't really change my brand. Plus, it kind of fits my playstyle and everything. I'm like, you know what? I kind of like it. So I just stuck with it.
Although now I hope that this Regret guy comes back and gets better than you again.
No, he was better than me when I made my name, but I passed that guy so quickly. I was like, I should have just called myself Regret. No one would have even known who he was. He would be the imposter. But when I made the name, he was better. So I was like, I'm the imposter now.
That was very respectful of you.
Yeah. The guy was not a good guy either. He was kind of a dick. I remember him. He was like, change your name. I'm like, no, I'm No Regret. And you're like, no, you can't be that. I'm Regret. And I'm like, I'm not even the same thing. I remember him. Awesome. I used to play him a lot on ladder too.
Damn.
It's fun.
All right. Zombie Grub, where'd you get your ID?
Oh boy. I'll answer it one more time after the 1 minute time. So I'm a frequently asked questions on my Twitch page. Anyways, I used to have another name that I won't say because it's connected to a fanfiction.net account. And then I got StarCraft when it was released, and I was like, I really need a new name than the old one I've had. So I thought zombies were like a cool mythology type thing, and grub was a cool word, sounded cool, and it meant food. So zombie grub means humans, it means brains. And then it stuck. There you go.
Oh, it's a good idea. It's a good idea because I figured you just made the ID because you're like, well, I'm smart, so that like means brain, right? It's like a more interesting way to write brain. Yeah. For me, I've told this story a majillion times, but I needed an ID. I think I was 16 or something. I'm like, I'm going to be famous at this game. This game's so good. I'm going to be like the best player. And so I sat down and tried to think of something completely original that other people would not have. And yeah, I came up with Artosis, combining the first couple letters of my first ID on Battle.net, which was for Diablo, Archmage-Danny. What a great ID for a child to play Diablo on. And the Korn song Cameltosis, which by the way, I don't like. It's just, it sounded cool. My friend was like, oh, what about, you should name yourself after this Korn song I like. And I was like, oh, the Tosis part's pretty neat. All right. Thank you for the question. 2 more. Captain Happa asks, if you could give one piece of advice to your young StarCraft self, what would it be?
My young
Protoss.
StarCraft self.
Play
so-
Protoss. Hell yeah. I was just thinking that. Why didn't I say it first? God damn it.
My young StarCraft. Is this include my StarCraft self that played N64 like
Sure.
in the 90s? Okay, all right. Yeah, I'd
Anyone.
say get into Brood War. Like find this thing called
Mm.
esports and get into Brood War. My life would have had a whole different trajectory.
Would it? You're still here doing StarCraft. I don't know. I got
Okay,
into
but,
Brood War
like-
and we're sitting here together having a conversation. I don't know you would have had a different trajectory.
Zombie Grub compared to the mighty Artosis. But imagine if Zombie Grub had also been in Brood War.
Gotcha.
Then we're same.
Yeah, that's true. Anything from you, Pig? Any advice you'd give your younger self?
Oh, I'd probably just like look at myself in disgust and like walk away. I'd be like, "Oh, dude, you suck. Oh, give up now." Honestly, I'd probably be like, I'd probably sit down and teach myself how to use mechanics properly from day one of playing StarCraft 2 and be like, this is how you can do shit like control clicking and this is how control groups work. And can't use it yet, but one day there's going to be this great thing called control group stealing. Just wait for Legacy. Oh, and never use F2 when that comes out in Heart of the Swarm. You know, I'd be like, don't get addicted, man. You can use it a little, but like once a game. Yeah, I remember it took me so long to figure out all the little mechanics. I remember like I was literally playing tournaments and I'd like won like a local LAN, and it was like 6 months after that I found out how to like control group eggs from like the moment you built them as Zerg, which is one of the most fundamental mechanics, which makes StarCraft 2 Zerg so much easier to play. And I was like, how did I not know this? So I feel like just having like the nice mechanics from the start would have been really, really smooth. That would be
For sure.
that would be fun.
Or Protoss.
Yeah, that one works too.
Do you remember Protoss in
Oh, hell yeah. 3 pylons on the
Swarm.
bottom of your ramp. How many cannons am I going to build? 1, 6. Why does it matter? 4 gates. I'm warping it on the inside now. I can warp
Okay,
it up
that is-
ramps.
Kind
It's
of a
amazing.
terrible expansion for
Stalkers,
Protoss.
infinite of them. Infinite.
And
Do
they
I need
nerf
blink?
all that
I don't
and you
need blink.
disappear forever. And regret is
True,
the best
but
regret.
I would have hit infinite amount of money in that little period, and then I'd be president of gaming. So why does it matter?
You see, you
Is that
think
a
that's
slight
what it
at
would
Huck?
I love Huck, by the way. If you ever watch this, I love him. I love you.
Fairly certain he's the president of gaming at this point.
I didn't
all
catch
right.
that at first.
All right. Thank you for the question, Captain Appa. Good one. Last one from Fear Dragon. Question for no regret. What's your shoe size? Just curious. Has absolutely nothing to do with anything else.
13.
There you have it.
I don't
Great
think Fear
question.
Dragon knows what the other thing he's suggesting he's asking about is, because he's a sweet, dear old boy, doesn't have a wrong
I hope
thought
he's
in his
sending me
head.
shoes. That's what I'm hoping.
That's
Why I actually send it to him, just in case I get a pair of shoes or something.
I could be wrong though.
Oh,
We
it's to
might.
do with how high your MMR is, right? Right, Zombie Grub? Is that it?
It's exactly. It's the length of your MMR.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to check.
I don't know where this is going. I don't condone whatever it is, though.
All right. Well, that is all the Patreon questions. Thank you guys. It's been a little bit quicker episode than normal, but very good one. Actually, no, I say that and then it's like 3 hours anyways. It felt quick though. It felt very fast this week. Yeah, a big shout out to our sponsors once again. If you want to support us, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/ThePylonShow. I want to especially give a big thanks to our $100 donators, Astrofin, Field of Sins, Jerry Wang, Manard, and Shane. A little update, our $100 patrons, we're going to send a mug to at the end of the month. So thank you guys. Big cheers on that. Also, on the Patreon, we are re-releasing the episode 75, which is a Christmas episode pre-show, which is absolutely hilarious, listening to cats and Roddy fight. So everyone can go check that out over on the Patreon page. And we are moving our pre-show perk to our $5 member tier, which is the same as asking questions. So we're trying to clean that all up for everyone, and everyone gets the maximum value from the supporting it. So thank you guys. We really appreciate that. Also, check out ThePylonShow.com. Has all your Pylon Show needs, of course, and matcherino.com/ThePylonShow. Our code this week is MINT. We really appreciate it if you type that in. And a big thanks to everyone behind the Pylon Show that makes this show great. It is certainly not just me. Big cheers to the staff. And thank you guys for coming on. This was really fun. Why don't you guys tell us where they can find more of you and where to follow you and all that stuff. Let's start with you, No Regret.
Well, I have been streaming, and I'm committing to streaming every day for at least this week, and then maybe next week too. So you can follow me at twitch.tv/noregret_. I was streaming a couple hours before the show, so whenever that is for you. But I may not stream every time at that time, so yeah. You can also find me every Monday at Dan's house talking about StarCraft on twitch.tv/Artosis, I guess. And follow my Twitter. You'll see that stuff too, or follow Dan.
Good stuff. Zombie Grub, how about you?
You can follow me on Twitter at ZG Gaming. Twitch is Zombie Grub. YouTube is Zombie Grub. I definitely would like some follows on that YouTube. Subscribe. I've been uploading all my casts as well as a bunch of prep work I've been doing for Katowice. And I hope you all cheer for me to make good casts at Katowice. My first time there, and I've been working pretty hard. So see you there, guys.
Excellent. Well deserved. I'm sure you'll do great. Pig, how about you?
You guys watch StarCraft. You know where to find me. Google Pig StarCraft if you're bothered. I stream, I do stuff, but I think more importantly, everybody watch Katowice. Starts in a few days. We've got a week of nonstop StarCraft. It's going to be epic. I'm bloody excited to be there. Super excited. I can't wait. So just get in there, support the fans. Make sure you spam a lot of memes on the Reddit and have fun, guys.
Excellent. Okay, and as for me, I guess just I've been streaming a hell of a lot and doing my YouTube a hell of a lot as well. So just check me out on this channel. Any follows and subs and everything, I really thank you guys for. It's becoming a big part of what I do. In my YouTube, youtube.com/ArtosisTV. Next week on the Pylon Show, I'm hoping to do a nice episode on just kind of like moderation in general. Working on that, and hopefully can bring something that kind of views it from every angle possible. So make sure you tune in next week, and we'll see you then.